What up, people? It's me again. Three guys just talking. It's gonna be me, Jason. What's up, Jason?
What's
How you
up?
doing?
What's up? I'm good, man.
And
How
we're
you
gonna wait.
doing?
We wait. All right, we're waiting on Terrence. Terrence should be joining us any minute. I think he's having maybe a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are starting the show. I'm sure he's gonna join in on us. What up, chat? I see everybody. I see four people has joined so far. Thank you for the support. Before we get into the show, I just want to say, this is Comic Chat. My name is Danny. My buddy Jason here is with us. This is my channel. I'm trying to reach 1,500 subscribers by June, the third Sunday in June, which is Father's Day, which is right around the corner. I can only do that with your help. This is your first time. Here go Terrence right here. What's up, Terrence?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you
we
now.
got you. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
up?
Second thing, if you have not seen the show before, please give me a thumbs up. The thumbs up helps YouTube algorithm, helps me be trend more. So please do that. Please feel the need, if you want to, leave a comment. I read all my comments. I try to respond to all my comments in a timely fashion. Some days it take me a day or two, but mainly whenever I read it and get the alerts, I definitely respond back. I appreciate the comments, all the support. And last but not least, please hit the notification bell because I don't want you to miss any material that I upload in the future. Just so happened this week, I've been off per my job, trying to adhere to the social distancing, which I think is working. I hope it continues to work and get these numbers back down to a manageable number and hopefully to finally disappear altogether. All these cases that's being we're finding every day. This is day 3 of three guys just talking. Yesterday we ended wanting to talk about 4 shows. 2 of them I don't know why we even talking about, but Jason and Terrence insisted on talking about them. So I'm gonna show them respect and talk about them, but it's kind of funny to me. The first show starring one of my favorite comedians is Damon Wayans, and his whole family is funny. And this show is Blank Man, and it stars him. And I want to thank.
Wait,
That-
Blank Man's actually a movie.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said show.
Okay, well, a movie is so freaking long ago. It started him and David Allen Greer, who I
David
think is
Allen Greer.
hilarious. David Allen Greer is very, very funny. I don't even know why we're discussing this movie because I thought it was silly as hell.
But that's how the movie was supposed to be, though.
Yeah, but man, oh my God. This sucker got a towel with holes cut out for his mask,
I watched that this morning, to be honest with
a
you.
jumpsuit. I think he had some kind of boot on his utility belt, a plunger. Oh my God. It was
He had
awful.
a robot made out of a washing machine.
Oh my God. And then he had something, the blank cave or something. He's down on this
Yeah.
train track. Oh my God.
That movie was hilarious, bro. It was too funny. Even today, when I watched it this morning, I still laugh.
Man, that movie was completely inspired by the Batman 60 show.
Absolutely.
It was more campier than that.
Not really. I mean, like it, because I mean the '60s Batman, it had the whole pow and smack thing, and it had the quirkiness to it. I mean, it was done in the spirit of that while they were trying to do their own story. You know, they related it to certain problems in the black community with a comedic spin. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you still want to have some form of originality to it, even though you're borrowing from something else. Um, so that said, I'm like, man, this movie is funny as hell just from the
Mm-hmm.
start. Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer. You know, they've been friends for a long time, and I remember just all the Waynes. You know, Damon, Sean, Marlon, sister
Mm-hmm.
Kim, and Keenan started the In Living Color show, and then from there they just all broke off into their own successes. You know, Damon Wayans being one of the more frequent workers of the family, aside from his older brother Keenan, and Blank Man was another avenue for him to stretch his comedic and creative talents. And it was done with such ease. It seemed like he just kind of woke up and he was like, "This is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it." And they did exactly what they're supposed to. I mean, the movie is silly as hell, but it's supposed to be. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't try to be anything else but what it is. It's very much self-aware. You have a villain in the movie who's actually pretty good considering how silly the movie is. I mean, this villain is just despicable. He had Blank Man's fucking grandma murdered. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to take over the city. I mean, they had a pretty legit villain. Like I've seen worse villains in better movies, like coming from
For real.
Marvel, especially. I'm like, but this though, you'd be surprised at the kind of thought that they put into this movie. Because up front, when you kind of see it, you're like, oh, this ain't gonna be nothing about nothing. But I'm like, it definitely got some stuff in there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that like I said, it got the villain, it got the social issues, and it got stuff that makes you think about society. And I think that's very rare when you're dealing with something that's silly, that they actually have stuff that can make you think. Once you get past all the silliness.
Mm-hmm. Damn right. I don't know what you didn't like about it, Danny.
I'm gonna let y'all talk on this because man, I don't waste my time and my show time talking about no $7 million movie.
Would have made
Hey,
money.
it doesn't matter how much it costs to make it. Like, man, people today still be talking about Blank Man. Like, when
Mm-hmm.
we talk about these black heroes and stuff,
Okay.
I've been in plenty conversations where Blank Man gets brought up more than somebody might think.
Okay. Well, like I said, y'all got the floor now. I'm gonna let y'all two talk about it. I had nothing to say.
Dan, you know damn well you got something to say. I know you got a scene or something in there that you like. You didn't like nothing
I'm,
in the movie.
I'm trying to figure out who the bad guy was. You said the bad guy was pretty good. I don't even know. I can't remember who the bad guy was.
He was well. I mean, the bad guy was, he was generic in the sense of the word, but he serviced the plot well. He stood a purpose. He's supposed to be the guy that motivates the intelligent young man to be a hero to avenge his grandma and save his city.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was funny, man. It's a good movie. I could
I'm
definitely
glad,
watch that
I'm
one
glad
again. It's
y'all.
a classic, bro.
I'm glad
You
y'all
don't have
like
no
it.
sense. You don't have no sense of humor, Danny.
I do,
I,
but I thought it was goofy.
I'll say this. Look, the villain in Blank Man is better than the villain in Ant Man and the Wasp, because the villain in Ant Man and the Wasp didn't do anything. All she
That's
did
true.
was like, I'm trying to live, and she even went so far as to warn the heroes, hey, I don't want to kill you. Stay out of my way. I'm just trying not to die. I'm like, that is the nicest villain I've ever seen in my life, even in the context of the MCU. Because at least the other villains, they try to kill the heroes. They try to do bad things. In the case of the mob villain in Blank Man, I'm like, he had home dude's grandmother killed, and she was a nice lady. She didn't deserve to die. So
Mm-hmm.
that was already messed up. This dude going in a up in movie like television studios talking about, I'm gonna blow up the whole building because I'm gonna get back at Blank Man. He put him up in a tank trying to
Mm-hmm.
drown him.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, okay, I'm gonna drown this dude and his sidekick, and then I'm gonna blow up the building on top of that. So he was doing extra shit. He was trying to kill him twice.
Damn right. The cast was
So
pretty good too. Robin Givens was in it. Cast was good.
Yeah, and also too, like the way that the blank man character, I'm forgetting his human identity name, but I think Daryl is his name.
Mm-hmm.
So like Daryl, he's very creative. Like he's someone that likes Batman, but as he said, as his brother told him, you don't have the money. You're not Batman. Batman's not real. This is real life. You are going to get the
Mm-hmm.
shit beat out of you. You know what I mean? And if
Yep.
anything, his brother had the fighting skills that,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily that you would equate to Batman, but he's more realistic as a superhero than Blank Man actually is. Blank Man, though, he had the willpower, he had the drive, he had the creative ideas. Like he was making weapons out of shit that I probably overlook in my own daily life, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I see a towel, I see a bathrobe. This dude made a costume out of it. This dude, he literally created J5, which is like a legit R2D2 in the hood. Who does that? Who does
Out of
that?
a washing machine.
Yeah, out of a washing machine.
You
And
know
think
what I
about that. A part of it was a dumpster. That shit was
mean?
able to
Yeah.
talk. Like he literally made a legit artificial intelligence out of scraps, Jason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. When I was thinking, I was like, imagine he had Batman's money.
Exactly. That was another thing that you hit the nail on the head, Jason. Like so many people while discussing this movie, we all said the same thing. Imagine if he had money, what kind of shit he would be able to make. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you can make stuff out of scraps, there's
Mm-hmm.
no reason to debate that he would be able to make better stuff if he had access to money and better material. Remember, this dude is poor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Remember how in Iron Man 1,
Oh
when
my
that villain
god.
was like, Tony was able to build this in a cave. Well,
This
Blank
Mm-hmm.
Man was able to
talking
do
about
that
that
shit
shit.
in the
I can't
hood
believe
out of
it.
scraps.
Damn right. Danny, what you mumbling over there?
I can't believe y'all spent 12 minutes talking about this shit. I can't believe it.
Danny, Danny, you know me. I can talk about anything,
Oh my god.
especially when I'm
You damn sure
passionate.
proving that right today, because this right here is ridiculous.
Danny, I want you to tell me one scene that you enjoyed in that movie. There's got to be at least one scene.
The end credit scenes.
Oh, come on, Danny. Like you didn't. So you telling me you didn't get no entertainment value out of that whole movie?
Look, man, I can't remember that thing came out when. I just pulled it up. 1994.
Hmm.
Yeah, 94.
Okay, whatever you
How
can
old
give
I
me.
was in 1994? I was like 20 something years old. I was a grown ass man. Nobody came out no damn blank man.
Danny, it don't matter that you're a grown man. I was a grown man. Well, no, I was a child when I
So
watched it, but
I was a
I was a
grown man.
grown man. I was a grown man watching it multiple times. And if you want to be real, the majority of comic book stuff is for children. So we
Okay.
can't use that grown man name.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying on this particular movie, I was a grown ass man. I ain't care. I don't care about no blank man. That's something that happened 20
Danny,
something years ago. I don't like it. Like you don't care for it. You can't make me like it. Okay. There ain't nothing about that
I'm
movie I like
I'm not
except
trying,
the end
Danny,
credit scenes.
Danny. I'm not trying to get you to like it. I want you to tell me at
I
least
just
one
told you
thing.
the end credit scenes. It
No,
was.
no, seriously. So you don't like nothing because you said you don't remember. So if you were to
I
rewatch
can
it,
barely remember it, bro. I can barely remember, and you know that it didn't mean nothing to me because I can remember stuff in the '70s when I was a child. I can remember Shazam and Wonder Woman and Knight Rider episodes to the T
that's because you liked them.
because I liked them. Okay, I don't like
Mhm.
this. I didn't remember. It's not in my storage bank. You can't make me
You,
thinking
you
that.
didn't like
I
Iron Man
don't care
three,
for it.
but you didn't like Iron Man three,
I,
but you sure was able to tell us a
I
scene
like
that
Iron
made
Man
you
3
say,
better than that crap. That wasn't even a
So
superhero movie to me. That was a what the fuck hero movie to me. That what that was.
hit.
No.
so Danny, you never watched a movie that you didn't like and then watched it later and ended up liking
Mm,
it? Maybe you
mm,
like Blank Man if you watch it again.
no.
Danny, you said you don't remember, which means that it's almost the same as if you've never seen it because you can't
Hmm.
recall anything. So perhaps if you were
No.
to rewatch it as you are now, you
Mm,
might you might like something in it. That's all I'm
I
saying.
doubt it. I like the actor Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer. I think they are fantastic. I like David
There you
Allen
go.
Greer in Boomerang, and I like Damon Wayans in Major Pain. So okay, there you go.
Damon Wayans has a lot of cool movies, and Blank Man is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you gotta check it out, Danny, and then just one scene. That's all you gotta do. One scene that you thought was better than anything else. I'm pretty sure you can come
It
up with
looked basically like when he was what's the that he was handyman on Living Color. That's what it remind me of.
Yeah, it was something like that, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that the blank man character was way more developed, which it had to be to make it into a full blown feature film. You got to develop it further than something with a skit. It's the same thing with Dan Aykroyd and the Coneheads on Saturday Night Live. Like that was cool, but that's nowhere near as developed as the Conehead movie, where they had to come up with a full blown plot that exceeds like a 5 minute sketch.
Okay.
What
You
about
you
I'm
and Dave,
gonna get you, sucker?
bro.
Do you remember that one?
The what?
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
that was dope.
Did you like that one?
I did.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
see,
You
there
can
you
keep your
go.
black card then, Danny.
Yeah. No, Blank Man is not a black card movie. I don't know what you're talking about. That is not considered a
Uh,
black card movie. No,
it
no, no,
it
no,
it,
no, no.
it may not be
A
a
black
black
card
card
movie is
movie.
like Temptations, Five Heartbeats, I'm gonna get you, sucker, stuff like that. Blank Man
Okay.
is not in that.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, I don't necessarily think that any particular black movie is a a
Lose
black
your black
card
card.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody has different
Uh,
opinions on
if
which
you ain't
black movies are
listen,
what.
if you black Terrence, you ain't seen the Temptations and the Five Heartbeats. Uh,
Man, Danny, there's people younger than me that haven't even heard of those movies.
I'm
I,
talking about people in our age range. If you are 30 plus, you should have seen those movies.
but
I'm not talking about these some millennials and whatever you call the people under millennials. If you are 30 years of age on up, you should have seen those two movies.
well, not necessarily though, because remember when we talk to
Mm.
different people from different walks of life, and there's a lot of people that haven't had seen a lot of stuff. I know people that haven't even seen Star Wars, so it wouldn't surprise
Or
me if there are
or not
people
really a
that
Temptations fan, you know? I've seen
exactly
the movies,
like
of course, but
No, no, no. I'm saying black people. I ain't saying
yeah,
that's
yeah,
only
no,
30.
no, yeah, I'm talking
we
black people too.
we talking black people.
Hmm.
Like I mean, I know a couple of black people they haven't even seen Friday, but they
How
have
old,
seen
how old are they?
they my age, maybe a little bit younger, but they seen Boys in the Hood though,
Okay, you
but they haven't seen
31.
Friday.
You
Yeah,
31.
yeah.
So I'm saying, for the most part, if you are 30 years old, of course there'll be some exceptions to the rule, but the percentage should be very small, almost nil. If you haven't
Well,
seen
that
those
I can
two
agree with.
movies, then you may have to check yourself. That's all I'm saying. That's my opinion. The same way y'all think Blank Man is a shit, I'm saying those movies,
And,
if you ain't
and
seen them, you might need to check yourself. That's all I'm saying.
and my opinion is that if you just simply rewatch Blank Man, you might
No,
be surprised that you like one scene. That's all I'm
hell
saying. You don't even remember it, Danny. That's not even really fair for the sake of this
no. It is
discussion. You just
fair.
gotta.
If I can remember something, that means it's pretty much uneventful. So I don't want to go back and waste another 2 hours of my life to watch something that I initially thought was uneventful.
Well,
That's
that
it.
that's
That's
not.
it. That is the definition of insanity. You do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different response. Why would I want
eh,
to do that?
well, this is not over and over. This is one time.
Well,
And number
that's
two, number
redundancy.
no, number two. Like I have seen certain films when I was a kid that I ended up watching later because I didn't remember because they were shown to me too young,
Mhm.
only to come to find out that the movies were good. It's just I wasn't old enough to appreciate them at the time.
Not
So
me.
if that can happen to me, that can also happen to you or anyone else.
Nah,
And the fact
I
that
don't.
it
I don't
has,
remember none of them movies like that.
just saying,
All,
Danny, like
all the movies I watch and understand and love, I had a good understanding of it, comprehended it. I ain't had to be like, maybe I need to watch this again because it's too adult for me. No, I
well,
can't remember a movie off the top of my head like that.
I didn't say anything about it being too adult. I just mean in general that something had escaped you for any number of scenarios that you can throw into the pot. But at the same time, if you're saying that you like Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer, that it would just seem to be logical that you would at least like something that they did in that movie. That's all I'm saying.
Wackola.
Man,
Man, we done
Blank
spent
man
20
has
minutes on this. Let's go to another subject, man. Let's spend
God.
20
Wait.
minutes.
One more thing before we move on.
God.
So, do you not think that it's impressive for a poor person to be able to create a full blown artificial intelligence? Can you at least admit that that's impressive to be able to
No,
do that? Forget
because
the
I know
movie.
where fantasy and reality started. That's fantasy.
Okay,
Anybody
but forget the movie. I'm talking about if you met someone in real life that's poor and they told you they created a full blown AI, you would not be impressed by that.
I'll probably say whoop de damn do and keep it moving.
Oh, cool. Jason, you hear Danny? Danny is clowning, bro.
Yay! Okay. Bye. Bye, Felicia. That's what I tell 'em.
Oh, come on, Danny.
but
So if I told you I made an AI, you wouldn't be excited for me to show you what it can do and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. From 3,000 miles away, I probably would.
All right, yeah. I was just curious.
Okay. Do we have blank man out of our system now?
Well, I mean,
yeah, I'm good.
it's always in my heart, Danny.
Is that your system
For
out there?
sure. It'll always be in my heart too.
All
That's a
right.
classic movie,
Can
bro.
we move on to the next movie? I got waste another 20 minutes of my life with this stuff.
Danny,
Yeah, Meteor Man, right?
you enjoy talking to me. So how could this be a waste
I
of time?
do, but I like talking to you, but the certain I ain't gonna always like. The person I'm talking with, I like and love, but the conversation is for the birds.
And see that's the stuff right there that can cause deaths in the family due to heart attacks and stuff.
No.
That's how people be dying.
Well, you start to sound like my wife. My wife believes that just because she's my wife, I'm supposed to agree with everything that comes out of her mouth, and she does. That shit ain't happening.
No, negative. I have never said that to you ever, Dan. You do not have to agree with me. You know
Well,
damn well.
I don't agree with you about blank man. So let's move on to the next subject.
I know you know I'm playing with you, but that's still ridiculous. But,
She'd be like, "You're my husband." Yeah, I'm your husband. Okay, I'm not your slave. Okay, I don't agree with that. So we're not going to do that.
no. That is a different category. I'm Terrence. We're not even gonna go there. You already know my position.
I got you. Okay, this next movie. God, Lord, please, Lord, don't let these two talk another 20 minutes. Black Man, starring Robert Townsend.
No, you mean Meteor?
I'm sorry, Meteor Man.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this is much better than Blank Man. At least he has some kind of powers. So I'll give you that.
Wow. If I apply that to comic books in general, like at least this person has powers. All right, continue.
At least he had powers, a little bit of intelligence. I probably could watch again if I had to. But what pissed me off about this, they start doing that dancing scene or something.
the Vogue.
What in the world? They start voguing. And then Luther Vandross was like a gangster or something. I'm like, huh? What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, then he got a girl. I think he made a garden one night and made the food giant,
big.
giant.
Yeah.
Like, man, what? His power to make damn vegetables life size or something.
I'm gonna be real with you. I would rather watch Blank Man over Meteor Man.
Oh
You
my!
know, Meteor Man. Like I watched it, and my takeaway was that this is the poor black man Superman. That's kind of what I took away from it.
That's pretty much what it was, you know. I liked it too. The cast was good. James Earl Jones was in it. Big Daddy Kane was in it. Don Cheadle was in it. You know, those are like some of those actors' first movies. I liked Meteor Man.
I think you just said it right there. I think mostly the reason for my interest in the movie is the cast and not so much that it's superhero based or that you have someone powers. Like sometimes
keep talking.
a cast is good enough for me to keep watching. But if
absolutely,
I'm not say captivated by the story, I probably won't rewatch it a bunch of times. You know what I mean? As to where like like with Blank Man, I just had a certain kind of joy that I didn't really have with Meteor Man. If that makes sense.
No, it does. I think Blank Mine was a little bit more funnier too. Um, I like Meteor Man, like I said. There's a lot of scenes in that movie I like too. So, I mean,
Yeah, it,
they're silly type of movies. You gotta take them for what they are, right?
exactly, and I think that's the part that Danny was failing on wherever he is in the world right now. Because
For real.
I think that I think Meteor Man and Blank Man they have the potential to be remade into something really good to where you can get the average person to like them because
Hmm.
now's the time of the superhero as it has been for like the
Hmm.
last 11 years. So
Hmm.
there is something that you can do uh, to make them more liked than they were before, even though people will still like the original people that played them. But from a
Hmm.
storytelling standpoint, the potential is there to make these characters even more likable to kind of expand upon their already existing legacy.
Exactly. Like they could remake Meteor Man with Kevin Hart, you know?
That would be perfect actually. Kevin Hart as Meteor Man, and you get like a good writer, like people
Hmm.
would eat that shit up because Kevin Hart is one of
Absolutely.
the few people that's automatically bankable no matter what he
Hmm.
does.
Hmm.
And in fact, he specifically said that he would love to do something superhero related. So if they came knocking on his door with the right kind of script for something like Meteor Man, he'd snatch that shit up quick.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it would probably be good too.
And or I mean shit, like I'd be open to if Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson said, "Hey, we gonna do a revamp
Batman and
version of
Robin.
Blank Man." No, Blank Man.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that too.
You could do a
I would, I
black
would.
version of Batman and Robin. That'd be hot.
That's Blank Man. That's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what that is.
exactly.
So like, Kevin Hart and Dwayne would bring the people in, and then
Hmm.
people will be told by other people, "Hey, this is a remake." Right? Oh, really? That
Hmm.
might get more people to watch the original, but you can really do some good ass fight scenes with Dwayne Johnson. You can get
Absolutely.
you got to get somebody beast to be the villain, like a really good actor,
Hmm.
to get people to buy into whoever it is that they're fighting. But
Hmm.
you would get the people that like films like Meteor Man, Blank Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, any kind of uh,
All right, let's go to the
superhero
next
based films
category.
that
This right
that
here is
focus on
bullshit.
comedy. Well, I'm trying to do this pitch for Hollywood. So
You know what I
it's
mean?
like,
We're coming up with some good ideas here. Let's say
Bullshit.
right,
Samuel L. Jackson's the bad guy.
yo, Samuel Jackson. If he is the bad guy in Blank Man, I think the combination of all you got to do is show Kevin Hart, Dwayne Johnson, and Samuel Jackson. I guarantee you,
Hmm.
people are showing up for that shit just because those three
Absolutely.
are there. Like
Absolutely.
forget everything else.
All right, Donnie, let's move on because
Man, Danny, so you wouldn't go see a remade Blank Man that got Samuel Jackson, Dwayne, and Kevin Hart. You wouldn't go check that out.
I might.
That's better
okay.
than nothing. I might
Yeah,
is
I know.
better
I
than
was
nothing.
just about to say that. That's better than no. Yeah,
Are we done with this now? Can
we're
we
You
good,
know,
bro.
can we go to
Danny.
can we go to a real black superhero now?
Wow, a real one. What does that even mean? I need you to explain that.
Because Blank Man and Meteor Man, I wouldn't want none of their powers if I had a damn wish. But I probably would want Black Lightning's power, who's somebody who's about something.
Okay, here. Okay,
Can we can
first
we
of
can we
all,
discuss that?
we will. But before we get into Blackline, I gotta say this real quick. Number one, Blank Man's power is that he's a genius. That can be used for many things. Number two, Meteor Man has crazy ass superhuman strength. And if you telling me you don't want none of Meteor Man's powers, that's ridiculous, Danny.
I don't
Forget
want
the
none of
movie.
Meteor Man powers. I got to choose for the other ones. But I got to choose between Meteor Man, Black Lightning, and Black Panther. Which power are you going to choose?
Well, let's see. Considering that Meteor Man is supposed to be
Uh,
the
uh,
weaker version of Superman, he would just crush those characters. If I'm
okay.
gonna be real,
All right.
just saying.
Meteor Man was reading books and like just by touching them.
Yeah, like
You
he
know
his
what I
character
mean?
was hacked. I'm like, I would want that shit.
Jason, do you want to come back on the show again?
Yeah, absolutely.
You working on getting off?
Why? Because I'm being real, you know? Okay. I stick to
but
my
but nah,
guns.
but nah, Dan, you know what's up. It's all good. But yeah, I'm just being real. I'd rather have Meteor Man's powers because he has a lot of powers. He ain't just got one.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I can't change that. Now, thank you, Lord. We're doing those two. Black Light. This season to me was fire.
Hmm.
The addition
Absolutely.
to Gravedigger was the icing on the cake. I
Hmm.
cannot wait to see the next season. Um, how Gravedigger is going to influence Black Lightning and his family. Is he going to still be kind of like I don't give a damn, or is he going to kind of embrace the fact that they're relatives? What is Tobias Whale going to do? I know he's over in some country. He done kill somebody. He's sitting there eating breakfast or something like everything's cool.
Hmm.
To me, Tobias Whale is the best villain on TV now in the superhero genre. He is the best villain.
I agree. I
I
like him.
I can't well I can't argue with that much. But let me think. Uh,
I say in the TV now. I didn't say in.
yeah. No, I know. Like, I mean, in terms of currently, I definitely would say that he's one of the best. But if someone feels that he's the best, I understand. I mean, I've been seeing him and other villains, but he's connected to Black Lightning in a strong way. But I'll tell you now, I would rather deal with him than like Eobard Thawne. Like, I'm just being honest.
Uh, I forgot about Reverse Flash. That
Mm-hmm.
might be like one
Hmm.
A, one B kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Reverse Flash is top. I think Reverse Flash is top.
Cause,
I
cause
like him.
see, cause see, Tobias, he's great too, but it's just in comparison when I look at the overall threat level. Reverse
Hmm.
Flash is a threat to the multiverse and not just so much a specific area,
Hmm.
which is always worse. I can feasibly,
I don't
be
think
on.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't mean to cut you off. I don't think Tobias is aware of the multiverse. I think if he became aware of the multiverse, he would educate himself and become a threat. But I don't
Well,
think that's in his realm now because he's just not aware of it. But
well, I mean, but that's not the nature of the character though. Even in the comics, like
I know what
he's
I'm saying in the comics. I agree with you. But I'm on the TV now that because Black Lightning is aware of the multiverse, it only bears reason that Tobias Whale would become aware of the multiverse.
Yeah, but it's even still like if he became aware, he still would be limited in terms of what he can do. He can never accomplish something that the Reverse Flash can accomplish. It
Oh
just
no,
don't
but
work that
but,
way.
but he could get people. If Gravedigger becomes, he'd find some kind of damn ejection or something that would make him be able to teleport or do something. I mean, just the evolution of how they get these characters, they steady evolve and steady evolve. I don't think they're gonna go that direction. I'm just speaking kind of
Yeah, it's like
Hmm.
because
positive.
Tobias is more of a character of working with certain people for certain moments or acquiring certain substances. Like,
Hmm.
so that's what I'm saying. He's more of a local kind of threat. Like, you don't have to worry about him beyond certain things. And if he becomes aware of certain things, it will just increase his knowledge, but the capabilities of the character will still be just that. He would operate in terms of what's the familiar because he would know that he would be outmatched when he starts venturing into those territories.
With the things they brought in with the third season, though, there might be a chance he'd be able to steal the Flash's power, though.
Um, that would be kind of odd. Like it should be someone like Gorilla Grodd or someone like that before Tobias Well, because
Hmm.
then, like, because usually his focus is Black Lightning, and then like I said, like he'll try to operate in terms of what's going to keep him on top in terms of business and stuff like that. When you start messing with speedsters, like he would have to have someone in his corner that can combat that in case that goes wrong. But if you just have a couple of people and they get off, now you're playing in a pool that you're outmatched in, and Tobias is too smart to put himself in those extreme situations, which is why he tends to have henchmen do it for him, and he's the person at the top doing the thinking, so he doesn't get captured. Even when he was on the run from the law, he didn't even go out on the street much. He had he had cyanide and Joey Toledo do it. He wanted people to still think he was dead.
What if he teams up with Gravedigger?
If he teams up with Gravedigger, that would have to be the Gravedigger has decided to accept whatever proposal that Tobias was throwing down, or if he felt that he could use Tobias for a specific reason, because Gravedigger is someone that can operate without Tobias. So any sort of team up would have to be mutually beneficial, and it would probably be just temporary, and they would be united in their hatred for Black Lightning. Is something feasible that you could play out that way.
I like the fact that they brought Jill Scott back.
Yeah.
I like her in that show, you know.
Yep, did. And I always love Gamby.
Yeah, I like Gamby too. Gamby, I like it. Gamby can't be messed with, you know. Like they try all the time, and Gamby always one steps them all, man.
I wonder how long they're gonna keep Gamby around, because he does get his shit wrecked in the comics. So like, he's a central character, but for the people that don't know that, if they decide to do that, they're gonna be surprised. But that's ultimately what sets Black Lightning off, and also makes him improve himself even more when he has the death of Gamby, because Gamby literally dies in his arms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I was surprised when they killed the cop.
Yeah, I really was shocked. That was sad.
I'm glad they did that, because like I'm very big on you need to have some sort of loss in storytelling. None of this whole the characters show up, they're all pretty, there was no struggle. That's some of the issues that I have with a lot of the MCU movies, is that there's no real struggle until they get to a particular person, and that's not how you write stories. Because if I'm not concerned about the characters dying, then you've lost any form of intensity. So the only
they got to kill anybody else, my vote is Jennifer.
No, hell no. That would make no sense. The show would.
I would be okay with her dying too, man. Honestly, I would. Because she is
now their hand on thunder. Jennifer.
Yeah, she's annoying sometimes, though, man. You know what I mean? Like
she's the
right
strongest, and she can't tell her nothing. Oh, she gets on her nerves.
Yeah,
but she is the strongest of those.
Man, fuck her.
She is the strongest of those three by far.
Yeah.
The other characters have acknowledged that this is facts, and she's just getting started. By the way, like later on in the comics, when she actually gets her mental and physical training down, even Black Lightning, like he's like, shit, like I hope she don't turn on me. Like, so Jennifer, her being annoying, if you will, because she is annoying sometimes, but like her character is still going through stuff. She's still a young lady. She's been through all kinds of horrible situations that most of the humans I know, they panic when they lose their fucking keys. They would not be able to handle any of the shit that Jennifer has been.
Well, I don't like her on the show. I hope she gets smoked.
I know you don't like Jennifer, but I do like that.
Fuck her. And I don't hate her. I just find I don't hate her. It's just I find some nice, like before Crisis, she was like, I want to kill Tobias, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then it happened. And then she was like, okay, I should listen to my father. And then Crisis came back and she's like, oh, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm like, make up your mind, man.
And then she mad at him because they didn't tell about Jaleel. Man, Jaleel almost killed her sister.
Hey,
exactly.
Hang on.
Away First from of all, killing her.
Before, okay, but you have to remember that before her father was snatched into the Crisis situation, she was dealing with the multiverse before they even knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
She was dealing with
I know
multiple
that, but she was
interpretations
dealing
of
with the three
herself,
different versions of herself.
and she was able to see multiple scenarios play out. There is no more a teachable moment than experiencing the multiverse
Mm-hmm.
and what if scenarios. So that is also something that makes her character great because of the progression and the learning of the character. She has backslided. She has also grown. She's one of the characters on the show that constantly has experiences that allows her character to do any sort of number of decisions, either for better or for worse. But it keeps her character interesting, which is important. She always has something to do. She always has something to learn. Her powers are constantly growing. Jefferson is, even though he's sometimes disappointed in the decisions that she makes, he is still acknowledging the fact that she is growing power wise. And he
Mm-hmm.
can't treat her like a child. She's been through the damn multiverse. You can't treat somebody like a child that's been through that.
I know you're still my daughter. You better listen to what I say, man. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like,
Right. And,
listen.
and even Gamby had to check Black Lightning's stupid ass. He was like, your daughter is right. And the Black Lightning was like, you agree with her? He's like, yeah, you put your most powerful fighter in the back. You're a
Yeah,
damn idiot. Like, so
yeah.
I'm glad.
Sometimes Black Lightning doesn't make the right decisions either. You know what I mean? But
She can be powerful, but what good is it to be strong as hell if you don't have no wisdom or knowledge of how to control your power? Black Light been doing that shit for ages, so
But
he knows
mm-hmm.
what
that's,
he can and
but,
can't do. And he trained Thunder, but she won't give him time to train her because she think just because she can do all this and do all that, she the shit. I don't care
but
how powerful
Gamby,
you are
but
if you don't
Gamby
know.
knows, but Gamby knows that. That's why he was saying that you can't ignore her by putting her in the back. By you not allowing her to go through the experiences and you being by her side, you are doing her a detriment. You're not helping
Okay,
her.
well she faced Gravedigger, and what happened? Her
Yes,
ass got knocked the fuck out.
that's because she went out by herself. And that has to do with her family not
No,
believing in her, as
no,
Gamby specifically stated. Some
it
of that
goes.
is their fault.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
They,
is. It's not all her. Some
if
of it is
all
their fault.
it's her inexperience, her youthfulness. I know what I'm doing. I can do this. I'm strong as shit. Okay, you can be. Superman can be strong. Is the strongest person according to y'all, but he still gets his ass handed to him sometimes because of some of his beliefs or some of the things he don't do.
He's not the strongest person because
Oh,
Spectre and the Anti Monitor are stronger than you. I'm just saying, Danny. I'm just throwing out the facts. But you know, I can break this down, Danny. You know I can. But like I all I'm saying is that it takes two to tangle. And Black Lightning has acknowledged that he has made some mistakes, specifically in regards to Thunder and Lightning. They have spent, and you've seen it too, Jason, they have spent multiple scenes showing why Black Lightning was wrong for past decisions. They
Mm-hmm.
are better when they operate as a family, they trust each other, and they all learn from each other. That is when the Pierce family is the most deadly versus them going out by themselves, Jefferson included.
Yeah, no, I get it. There was mistakes, like locking her up in her room and all of that. That was a mistake. You can't do that to a teenager, no matter what. You know what I mean? You got to give them some time. You got to give them space. I know they were doing it to protect her, but you're still locking a teenager in her room where she can't leave the house. She's gonna rebel,
Yeah,
come
I'm
on.
hands down.
not. I'm
You're
not
not
even.
talking
I'm
like
not
a
even.
parent.
Who, me? Oh, I
Yeah,
sure am.
Hey, look,
you're not talking
Jason,
like a parent, bro.
Yeah, I sure am,
Jason,
bro.
Jason. Look. I'm not a parent, but even I knew that was a horrible idea. Like because a regular teenager is hard enough to deal with, let alone someone with powers that
Mm-hmm.
also happens to be a black female teenager on top of that. So his approach was, you're talking about okay, on one end he's trying to protect her, on the other end he's doing it out of fear, which is
Mm-hmm.
one of the worst things that you can use to make any sort of decisions in your life. You should never operate from a position of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Gamby has taught Black Lightning not to do that time and time again. He'd be like, Jefferson, you're not listening. And then Jefferson don't listen. And he'll come back and let Gamby know that he was being an idiot. You need to listen. Jefferson has a lot of
I
experience.
ain't seen all
And
these episodes y'all seen.
it's there. Come on. We all watch the same episode. The
I,
lessons
I,
are
I
there.
I swear to me, Black Light, I don't know what he's talking about. He's been doing this for a while. He tries to get them sage experience when them girls want to do what they want to do. They want to kill. They want to do all this kind of stuff. And he just got to this season, according to what I've been seeing, the first time he wanted to like really kill somebody because it was getting down to crunch time. And even his wife told him, say, look, if it comes between you and Gravedigger, then take out Gravedigger. But he still showed compassion.
That's false. Because even that's false. Because even in season 1, he was seconds away from killing Tobias, Cyanide, and Joey Toledo.
He could have killed Tobias that time when he accidentally killed her sister, but he didn't do it.
No. But that's after. I'm talking about in the moment where Gambi had to talk him down. The Black Lightning has almost done horrible things if it were not for Gambi talking him down.
I don't remember that one.
Jason, you remember that in season 1 when he was like, Lynn, you got to go talk to Jefferson. He's going to make a mistake. He's going to go kill Tobias. That was a full-blown episode. He was on the rooftop with his newly made suit. Like, how do you not remember that? He was like, Jefferson, don't do it. Then Lynn, you got to call him. Then Lynn was like, no, you don't want to listen to me. He's like, Gambi was like, please, Lynn, you know him better than anyone. You have to talk to him.
Because even through that whole season, he was saying Tobias had to die.
Exactly.
But during that time, Gambi was kind of like playing both sides.
But see, Gambi was doing everything he did to protect Pierce's family because that was the agreement, which he specifically, told them at some point. But from our perspective, we saw that because of his interacting with Lady Eve, and he was like, "Hey, I thought we had an agreement. You're not supposed to be doing certain shit," and to keep them in the dark because they weren't ready to face stuff like that. Because at the point of when Black Lightning started, he had already been doing that shit for many years, and then he stopped. So he had already had a lot of experience by the time the show started. And even with all those years of experience, 10 plus years, he still was talking about he wanted to kill Tobias. So as far as I'm concerned, nothing that Thunder and Lightning did are any different than what Jefferson was doing for the longest time, especially before and during season 1.
And I agree, but that's the thing. Even still, like I'm playing both sides here.
In front of you, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" They didn't see that. They didn't experience that.
No, they didn't experience it, but because of Jefferson's experience, it's even more of a reason as to why he should have made better decisions than he did, as expressed by Gambi. You know what certain things are like. You've seen things that they haven't because of your experience, your ability to come back from rage, for you listening to me and to Lynn. You should be able to deal with your daughters better. You're a hero. You do not have a position to make as many mistakes as the average person, because sometimes all it takes is one, and then maybe you don't get to do anything else after that. That's important.
I was just gonna say that even playing both sides, even after they found out he was Black Lightning, his daughters, they still kind of rebelled against him, instead of trying to learn from him. And that was another issue for me too. Like, what I mean?
I saw one Thunder kind of liked it because she knew she had powers first, and then he trained her. But Jennifer was the one like, I hate this, I want to be normal. I didn't get that so much from Thunder.
It took her a while though. It took her a few episodes.
Thunder's a little bit different though, because Thunder was training herself before Black Lightning trained her, because she was trying to get a hold of her own powers. She went out there, she did the training in the junkyard. She did other stuff that we didn't see, but it was implied that she was training. She went out there and tested on legitimate bad guys. So she was doing all of the superhero trial runs, if you will, before you get accepted by the top dog, in that case being Black Lightning. So Thunder had that over Jennifer in terms of, she was doing her own thing. She was getting her own experience. She was still low-key learning from her father before she even let her family know that she had powers. So Anissa's approach was a lot smarter than Jennifer's, but Jennifer had her own shit that she was dealing with. She was being treated a certain way that Anissa was not. I mean, all these things make the difference on how these characters operate. That's what keeps them different.
Okay. Sure. I said her ass get killed. I won't be happy. I won't shed a tear.
that
Next,
ain't gonna happen. You will see Gambi die before Anissa or
I
Jennifer.
probably will, but I'm just saying, if she dies in whatever season, I won't be sad based on what I've
I,
based on what I've seen so far.
I think if they just make her make better decisions, I'll be okay with it.
They
As long
will.
as
It's a progression. Like you never start your characters off perfect.
mhm.
That doesn't happen. Superman wasn't perfect. Batman, Spider-Man, it doesn't matter who you name. They all made a hell of a lot of mistakes in the beginning. But that's where you grow to like them because you were with them in their worst moments. And now when they're shining in the sun, then you're like,
Man,
yeah, now I'm on board.
you like Jeff because you think she fine, man. She ain't
No,
fine
no,
no
no, no,
thunder.
no,
We
no,
done
no,
had
no,
this
no.
conversation before. All
It's not about that.
but
Jason, you didn't hear me say
Jennifer,
nothing about that.
Do you think she's better than Thunder though?
yeah, you do.
Really? No.
To me, they both look good. That's what I'm gonna tell you right now.
Jennifer's a girl.
Hmm.
I told
Jennifer's a
Danny,
girl. Thunder is a woman.
no. Like I told you,
Yeah.
I would take them both. I specifically told you I want them both at the same time, and they can use their powers too. I want Thunder to be doing that, like all that inhaling and shit. Like I want all that shit happening, man.
I'm right there with you on that one though. But Thunder,
I'm telling you, man, I didn't thought about all this shit, man.
there was a couple of scenes in some shows where Thunder was, yeah, I was
Man,
like,
imagine
damn.
Thunder doing that breathing shit and then fucking Jennifer like lighting up and shit at the same time. Oh man, like that'd be the best orgasm in history.
Thunder be wearing her costume, boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
she
do.
do. Yeah, they be
Hold
making
on a
sure
second.
to get them ass shots and stuff. Yep. I mean, shit, her ass can probably just clap, and then that alone would destroy a building.
Yeah. Uh, I guess we're gonna talk about Blade next. Blade. Wesley Snipes, or what was the guy off of Onyx? Sticky Fingers.
Oh yeah, from the rap group and shit.
Yeah, I want to watch that. What up? So
Oh, the you talking about the you haven't seen the show?
I seen the show. I think maybe one or two episodes.
Okay. I remember when it premiered on Spike TV. Um, I've seen the whole show maybe I want to say three times, Danny. Like the first time was when it was airing on Spike, and I remember the first episode had like something like 10 million people watching it, and then
Damn.
it kind of yeah, like it more than the shows that we got now with the ratings. Like Blade was on the all time high with that first episode right there, and then it just declined like crazy. Episode two, three was dropping off till it was less than the ones that we watching now. No comparison. So it had one of the biggest crazy drop offs I've ever seen for any show. And a lot of that had to do with it, a taste issue. Okay, gave it a chance, see if somebody else could do it. That's not Wesley Snipes. We weren't feeling it. They didn't like the way the fight scenes were going. They weren't impressed with where the show seemed to be going. But like for me, um, I actually got some joy out of watching it. I mean, it was nowhere near as good as the Blade films. Absolutely not. But I did appreciate one element of the show, which was they had um they had one of the episodes centered around when Blade was captured. He was captured by some vampires and shit. Like his boys that he when he was a kid, when he was little Eric, he had some friends and stuff, and they were supposed to be together like this whole boys for life kind of shit. And he left them behind, and they got fucked over and turned into vampires and different shit. So they like rounded his ass up. They was like, "Yeah, you remember us?" And Blade was like, "Oh shit, I thought you were dead and this and that." And he was trying to explain to him. And then they were kind of torturing him a little bit before Blade fucked their shit up. But that episode showed us like a lot of flashbacks when Blade was a kid and how. Remember Danny when I was telling you about the stuff from the comics with Jamal Fari?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they tapped into that so little. They're very little, and I was like, oh man, please do a whole episode centered around this, but they didn't. They gave me a little taste of something that I wanted to see for a long time. So stuff like that in the show, I was like, cool. Like, all right,
I'll be right
I,
back.
I
Hmm.
I saw that they were trying. You know what I mean, Jason? So
Which
I
show
was
are we talking about now?
the Blade show, the one with
Little.
Sticky Fingers
Oh,
Jones.
oh yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I
So
liked the show, but I didn't watch it religiously.
yeah, it was like it like I was telling Danny. I'm like, it's nowhere near as good as the movies. We
Hmm.
ain't
Hmm.
nowhere near. But I was telling him that I appreciated excuse me, appreciated certain elements about it. The like I said, the stuff where it kind of showed Blade as a kid
Hmm.
briefly.
Hmm.
Something I wanted to see, and I was hoping they go deeper into that. They didn't. Um, the fight scenes were creative, but they were sloppy in the sense that I
Hmm.
could tell that they didn't know what they were doing. Like for me personally, like I felt like I could just beat up everybody on the show. I'm a martial
Hmm.
artist, so anytime
Hmm.
that I feel that I can come in and do a better job, there's something wrong because they should be better than me. I'm pretty
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
There's people out there that'll wreck my shit in a second, but I'm actively seeing a lot of mistakes and shit, Jason, with the fight scenes. And then
Hmm.
it kind of pulls you out of the moment, and you
Yeah, for
start
sure.
not really believing that this dude is Blade because everything is off. You know what I mean? Got
Hmm.
like that awkward feeling to it.
Hmm. Like you could tell he couldn't fight in real life. You
Correct.
could tell he
Yeah.
couldn't fight. You know what I mean? He didn't do no fight training or anything like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
could tell right away.
and then if he did, it was too weak. It wasn't
Hmm.
enough. Because even like with for example, say Keanu Reeves and them in the Matrix, right?
Hmm.
they were moving in a way to where it was believable,
Hmm.
to where that was not even the case with the Blade show. But um, some of the vampire characters I did find interesting. They had one that was a little girl, and she was like one of the head vampires. Jason, like I don't know if you got that far, but
I don't think so.
it was like her and she had this one just this monster dude, Jason. Like I'm talking about, like like the scenes when you watch movies and shows, and then you got the one boss or whatever. They got that
Hmm.
one tall, big ass henchman in the
Hmm.
background.
Hmm.
He was that kind of vampire, and his character, he didn't really say that much. I think he might have said a couple of sentences, Jason, throughout the whole show because they didn't really show him that much.
Hmm.
But I was interested in seeing how Blade would deal with him, and that was interesting. So there were some things, and they had some pretty attractive women on the show that happen to be vampires, so that's always a good thing. Um, and the thing, what you have is you have the one on TV that came on Spike.
Hmm.
I purchased the season one on DVD,
Yeah.
and what you get there is you get the uncut version. So the
Hmm.
uncut versions of that show are better in the sense that you get more blood. They definitely have some sex scenes in there, and so yeah, they got that kind of stuff because the show was pretty spicy for it being on cable.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
it
but it
was.
seemed like okay, I know they filmed some extra stuff that they're not gonna show. It turns
Hmm.
out that I didn't really realize how right I was until they did like, hey, this is the unrated one. Each episode has like 5-10 minutes more scenes, and I'm like, Jason, that's a lot per episode to
Hmm.
have that much.
Hmm.
You talking about
Hmm.
that's a probably a little bit more than an hour of cutout material throughout the whole
Hmm.
show. You know,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
the I wanted to see a season two. I thought like the potential for it to get better was there, even though I was uncertain.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I understood why it fell off and it got canceled, and a lot of humans lost interest in it because it didn't have the that it needed to have. The big boost in the beginning came from the interest. Like a lot of people tuned in for episode one because it's Blade. You got to be curious about that, right?
For sure.
Then after that, man, it just
I think it would have did better if they had a better actor playing Blade.
that too, or I think what they really needed was a better fight choreographer. Number one,
Hmm.
better storytelling. They had some cool characters, but nothing to really write home about. Like how I was talking about the master vampire, the little girl, and then her big ass henchman.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're cool, but I don't think I would be like, contact you like Jason, you got to see them. It's just more of like I might mention it if we're having a specific conversation, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to tell you about it. Just
But overall,
casually.
you like the series? You like the season?
Um, I was fine with it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's enough there that interests me, but it's not as good as it should have been. Nowhere near as good as it should have been. So
I'll probably
especially
go
since
back
I
and
was
check it
able
out.
to, it probably just like kind of how I was, breaking it down for you, the areas that I felt were lacking, where it
Mm-hmm.
should have been a lot better. So you said you seen a little bit of it, or how much would you say you?
Yeah, because we're here in Montreal when it came out. I don't think we had Spike. I don't think we had that channel, you know. So I was only catching it on rare occasions when it was coming on a different channel or late night, really late night. So I maybe
Mhm.
seen like maybe one or two, maybe three episodes at the most.
Okay, and those were like kind of like out of context, kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Do you remember the Asian guy that was working with Blade? Like, did you get to see him? Because he's the one he's
Uh,
kind of like
I think so.
the whistler of the
Mm-hmm.
show, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. I believe so. I believe I remember seeing him.
Like, I thought he was cool. I really liked him. He was a cool character. Like, I definitely liked him.
Okay.
So I know
Which
you
player
like.
did y'all like the best?
Oh, Wesley Snipes.
No, no, no,
For
no. I
sure.
mean, which movie played one, two,
Oh,
or three?
Oh, one.
yeah, I would say one, but
I,
two is like right there, like
I like
right
two.
right there.
I like two the
Mm-hmm.
best.
Two is right there. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
two
Like,
two is Danny. I ain't mad at you, man. I ain't mad at
mhm. Yeah, two is good. Three, I liked it, but man,
I like
you know
certain
what I mean?
parts of it, like the weapons, that damn laser bow and arrow, whatever. That shit was fire.
Mm-hmm.
you. Yo, hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey, hey, Jessica Biel when she was pretending to be that helper to
Oh,
remove the child,
oh
and she
yeah.
like made them vampires out. When I
Mm-hmm.
saw that, I was like, you can kill me with that laser bow and arrow anytime. Like just chop my shit all the way up.
Yeah, that was a good scene. That was a good
Yeah.
scene.
So Abigail Whistler, when she was on screen, I was like, cool. I want to see her Blade. And Ryan Reynolds, I was like, he has a likability about him, so I couldn't get mad at him. But it was like him
Mm-hmm.
combined with Triple H being a shitty ass actor and just different things. I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're
I tell you,
making
man,
Mm-hmm.
this. It's too
Triple
silly.
H, he lost his opportunity, but I think he would have been the perfect son of Conan during his heyday in WWE. I want to see him play Conan, boy.
I could have seen that. Yeah, I could see that.
I my
I could
own
see that.
my only problem with that is he's a terrible actor. Like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
he
say. Yeah, it's
he he
horrible.
looks like he can do that, but his acting is atrocious. It's worse than John
Mm-hmm.
Cena's. Like John
Mm-hmm.
Cena is
Mm-hmm.
right now, he's a bad actor. He's getting better, but he's still bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like Triple H's shit is worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even.
Like
He's
John
not
Cena.
even. Yeah.
I mean, you ain't got to be no actor extraordinaire to play Conan. I mean, like
That's pretty true too, because Arnold
he
Schwarzenegger
like
could
Arnold,
barely speak
like
English.
But Arnold from like if you look at Arnold's movie career, this
Hmm.
guy has definitely gotten better over the
Yeah,
course of his
absolutely.
career with acting.
Yeah,
He also has a certain charisma about him that makes
yeah.
you
Hmm.
buy into whatever he's doing. Triple H
Hmm.
has none of that. His only charisma is in the WWE ring. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I was wondering why they put him in the movie anyways. You know, I was like, he's.
It's because like it's just like when you have these big movies, action movies, when you need to have big people, you go to,
Hmm.
professional
The big.
wrestlers or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get somebody
Hmm.
from an MMA or a
Hmm.
boxer. You can do stuff like that because you don't
Hmm.
necessarily need them to be the best actor. They just have to sell you that they can beat the shit out of whoever they're fighting. That's their only
Hmm.
purpose. And
Like
usually they're not a main character either.
in John Wick, right? John Wick 3, where he's fighting that big tall dude.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
basketball player.
Exactly. That's a
You
perfect
know what I mean?
example, Jason.
Hmm.
and he's not no good actor, but it's just he served the scene of like, oh shit,
He,
who was this giant
he,
fighting John Wick? That's all he needed to
yeah,
do.
he
Who?
fit the scene perfectly.
Who?
At the
The
beginning of John Wick, chapter 3, where he was in the library, and the fucking huge dude that he killed with the book, when he was like,
No.
oh, it's only a couple of minutes before, so I might as well kill you right now.
That was
And
El
he jumped.
Gigante or something, wasn't it? He used to be a wrestler or something.
no, he's a
Basketball
basketball
player.
player.
Who was it?
He's a basketball player.
My
His
my
name.
brother my brother would be able to tell you everything about him.
Yeah,
I know.
I
Yeah.
don't want to butcher his name, but yeah, he's a basketball player.
Yeah, I saw
I,
your. Speaking of your brother, I saw his in this video. He talking about that wide receiver boy. He was going off about that receiver.
Yeah, I watched that video too.
yeah, Tremaine is he's very knowledgeable about everything sports. The only thing that I have more knowledge in him about in terms of sports would be MMA, like UFC and stuff like that. But the rest of that, like football, basketball, soccer, NASCAR, golf, like Tremaine will talk anybody into a corner with that stuff. Like he's the kind of dude where like Stephen A. Smith and all of them on ESPN,
Mm-hmm.
like he
Mm-hmm.
can talk with them. Like he be knowing the stats. He could tell you what high school they went to when they started. Tremaine got it like that when it comes to sports.
I want to see him on that show. I remember that year when they invited somebody on there to debate them.
Hmm.
Well, they had this female on there, boy. She was kind of rough. They was only talking about Dallas stuff. They weren't talking about nothing else.
Yeah, see, like Jermaine, he knows about players and teams that he's not even a fan of. That's the difference between him and most people. Because
Mm-hmm.
usually, like even the people I talk to, they will know about their favorites or a particular team, but they won't have the knowledge of my brother in terms of just overall knowledge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The conversations are limited, so with Tremaine, I don't. He doesn't care what player or team you talk about. He's right there with you in the conversation.
I'm a sports guy too. I know my teams and that, but like, I don't need to know all the other players and all of
Who,
that stuff. You know what I mean?
who's your team?
So basketball, it's San Antonio.
Oh my
And
lord!
what? What do you mean, oh my lord? What are you trying to
Nah,
say?
you right, Jason. Like no one needs to necessarily know, but Tremaine is just that much passionate about the
Mm-hmm,
sport as
mm-hmm,
a whole, to where
mm-hmm,
he will be watching that shit
How in
mm-hmm.
the how in the world can you live in Canada and like San Antonio?
Why not?
Thought you
David
li-
Rob,
thought
David
you
Robert.
thought you'd
Go
have
ahead.
been a Raptor fan.
I represent the Raps. You seen me with my Raptors hat on the other day, and I represent them because I'm from Canada. But before we had the Raps, the Spurs were there. I was a big fan of David Robinson, and then Tim Duncan came in, and I became a fan of him. And in football, my team is the Steelers.
Okay,
I can get down
just
with you. You don't say Dallas.
No.
just real quick,
Mm-hmm.
this whole not having a problem with Ryan Reynolds in Blade 3. Any time when it comes to likability, or you like how someone looks, that gets discounted for any serious discussion. Like his character was terrible, and he had nothing of substance in the movie.
It was actually annoying. He was actually annoying in Blade.
ain't even listening to you on that one, Terrence.
Mm.
I said,
No, he
man,
was annoying.
I said, man's not even listening to you on that comment.
So you don't
He
have
was
to listen.
annoying.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it.
He was annoying in Blade 3. And
Yeah.
I find the Wolverine movie, he played the same character.
Ryan Reynolds always plays the same fucking character. He's Deadpool all
Hmm.
the time.
Yeah, exactly.
The only slight departure, when he was doing the voice for Pikachu and Detective Pikachu, he
Hmm.
actually did try to be Pikachu, because I thought he was just going to be
Hmm.
Deadpool, but he actually was Pikachu, because there's things
Hmm.
that Pikachu does and says with his voice that Deadpool would never do. So
Hmm.
I was at least satisfied from that front, from that movie, that he was trying to be something else, because the thing that you do when you are an actor is you focus on what people like, what made you popular to begin with, whatever that
Hmm.
is. So Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Reynolds, he has a likability about him. He's funny, so he just kind of sticks to that. He's not
Mm-hmm.
someone that I would consider a good actor, and he's even said so himself in his own Deadpool movie. Said Ryan Reynolds is not a good actor. He's just he's just a likable actor with a very specific one
Stick,
note kind of
stick.
talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So
But that's
I ain't mad at him. I'm just
that
saying
that's Kevin
that's facts.
Hart too, though.
Yeah, Kevin Hart he's a comedian though, right? So like
Yeah, yeah.
he shines the best when he is doing
Did you
stand up
did y'all
comedy.
see Kevin Hart in that movie where he helped the guy in the wheelchair?
Yeah, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't see that movie.
I seen most of it. I gotta watch the
it
ending.
was pretty good. He was funny in the parts, but for the most part, man, he was kind of serious.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
like I mean, Kevin Hart, like I think his best acting that I've probably seen would be in the Jumanji movies because he has to play different characters when
Mm-hmm.
the kids
Mm-hmm.
get sucked in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and he was
Yeah,
able to
I've
play
seen that.
Danny Glover convincingly. I was like, cool,
I
man.
didn't see the
But that
second one.
movie
I
with
saw the first one.
Kevin Hart and Cranston, it's a remake of a French movie, and it's really good.
I thought that was based
It's
on a true story.
it is. It's based on a true story, but it's on a remake of a French movie. Um, I don't know who the actors are in it, and I can't
I got you.
remember the name
Yeah,
right now.
I
But
got it.
yeah,
I
it's
got
a
a
really
movie
good
sitting on
movie.
my desk at my office. It is a good movie. Have you ever
Yeah,
seen? Y'all seen the Green Book too?
I
Yeah,
haven't seen it yet either.
Oh, that
yeah.
movie is awesome.
You
Really?
talking about the one with Mahershala Ali, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Viggo Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Man, it is.
Mahershala Ali is always great though. Like he just
But he
like Luke
the
Cage was at his highest when he was in it, when he was Cottonmouth. Like, that's just facts.
bro, I'm gonna tell you, you should watch the part where the first time he ever ate Kentucky Fried Chicken. That shit is funny.
Yeah,
Just that alone makes me want to see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
because he's like this classically trained pianist, and he don't eat certain stuff, and he's very particular
Mm-hmm.
on what he eats. He talks and acts a certain way, the very best of living. And
Mm-hmm.
the guy was kind of like his to keep him out of
His
trouble.
driver. Mm-hmm.
Driver was to
Yeah.
keep him out of trouble. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, man, we in Kentucky. We eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. He said, I never had that. Shit. He gave him a piece, man.
Man, yo, like Mahershala
Heaven.
Ali, Mahershala Ali is one of those actors where if he's in it, I will give it a chance. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it's
Yeah.
a movie, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a movie, I'll watch it, and then if I don't like it, I don't ever have to see it again. But if he's in like say a show, I'll give
Mm-hmm.
the show a chance because he's in it. Like I would do that for him. There's specific actors that I do that for because I remember one of my friends was like, the way that he operates is he'll give a show a chance if the girl is hot and shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
he'll watch the movie or show. But for me, I'm like, okay, that might get me to click on it. But when I start watching it, if the acting is bad and the story puts me to sleep and makes me think about watching porn instead of the movie, then at that point, it doesn't matter how good she looks because I can go to porn if I want to see an attractive chick or whatever the fuck I need to do. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's not enough to keep me there. You know what I mean? So that's with certain people though, their like I said, their presence and who they are and their talent can get me there. But if you want to keep me there, that shit better be entertaining to me.
Yeah, for sure, hands down. You know, that's like just like if you have a favorite actor, you know what I mean. You can go and say, okay, he's in this movie. I'm gonna go watch it. But if the movie is trash, doesn't
Yeah.
matter if he's your favorite actor or not.
One of the biggest examples of heartbreaking moments was like I talk to a lot of humans about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have yet to talk to anyone that knows more about his entire life than I do,
Mm-hmm.
including his bodybuilding stuff and then like how
Mm-hmm.
far he's come. And
Mm-hmm.
when I watched Batman and Robin, I couldn't me liking him so much did not work in that case,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
it's one of the few times when I realized that I'm not a biased person because
Mm-hmm.
those people they're just like, oh, it's great because this person's in it, and for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like, no, I like that person, but this shit is terrible.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
his Frost was absolutely horrible. It was that whole movie was bad, but yeah, it was No.
I'm like you have to put with certain things when they say, oh, we made a mistake, we made a misstep. I'm like, with certain things, I'm like, from my perspective, whether it's true or not, I'm like, you had to put effort into making it this bad because there's no way you could do this naturally. This is such a departure from what this shit is supposed to be. And the fact that it's supposed to be in a serious movie. This is not like some silly ass Teen Titans Go where you know the shit is going to be
Mm-hmm.
stupid. You made
Mm-hmm.
a full blown movie and you treated these characters like buffoons, stupid
Mm-hmm.
ass buffoons. And
Mm-hmm.
that was irritating.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All of them. Like you put nipples on the bat suit. You know what I mean? Had all these stupid jokes, and it just like I liked the first two, and then the rest of them after that are just like, meh.
Yeah, I remember I went to in terms of the first Batman, I don't remember. I don't think I saw that in the theater. Batman Returns, I don't think so either. I think I saw that later. In terms of that whole franchise, there, um, Batman Forever is the only one that I remember going through a drive-in theater to see,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a great experience with that because just the way that the movie went, like it was different in tone from the other two, but
Mm-hmm.
I felt like for the most part it worked. And what they did with like Riddler and Dick Grayson Robin, I thought Chris O'Donnell was perfect as Robin. Like he fucking nailed that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
for him being a little older than what Dick Grayson should have been when he was first introduced. Like Chris O'Donnell was like, "Hey, I may be a little older, but I'm about to own this shit." And when he
Mm-hmm.
walked out with his suit, boy, I was like, "That's fucking Robin right there." I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what nobody says. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but then with Batman and Robin, I think I saw that on what did I have, a VHS tape or some shit? I forgot how I first saw that shit, but it definitely was not in the theater. And I remember going, "Yeah, it's Batman," and wait, what? Like
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of confused because me being a kid and shit, all I could do is equate it to the knowledge that I had of the comics at the time. All the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that my cousins gave me to read, and I'm like, I could be wrong, but this shit is all fucked up. Like everything
Mm-hmm.
is just
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that even Bane. Oh my God, Bane was so
oh,
horrible.
Bane was a fucking dude. I don't normally say there's a such thing as being too buff, but like when it comes to fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and I went into this before about how I'm the dude that started at 97 pounds asthmatic, so I know what it's like to jump up and weight while doing martial arts and the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
So you become too big only when you can no longer fight the same, meaning when you can't do your punches, when you can't kick somebody in the face, the whole nine. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
what you look like. I'm talking about the functionality of how you operate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this actor that played Bane, who ended up dying shortly after the film, he took steroids to get that big for Bane, and I'm like, yo, I can give you some props for that. He was very dedicated to that shit. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mad at him for that. I'm not mad at him at all. I wish he wouldn't have did that because I would have preferred that he not die. But I appreciate the crazy ass dedication that he had to that, right? But I would have told him like, yo, if you can't, punch properly, you can't be Bane. Bane is a character that while he's ridiculously huge. He's like four Arnold Schwarzeneggers put together. That he still is able to punch, kick, spin, flip. So you need to be able to do that. So I
Mm-hmm.
would have told him that from if I were the director, right? He's like, hey, I'm gonna make sure I'm big so people will like me as Bane. Perfect. I'm glad that you understand that you need to be big. However, you only need to be big in the context of who Batman is. Meaning, as long as you are bigger than the actor that plays Batman, then you can be Bane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I
For
would have
sure.
made sure that he understood that, so that way he wouldn't have gotten too big to where he couldn't even bend over, my dude.
Yeah, I
He couldn't.
know. I
He's the
know.
he's the dude that people make jokes about where he probably can't even beat his dick or wipe his ass or nothing. Like I'm like, come on, man. Like and then they had my boy talking like a child. This is supposed to be a dude that runs a criminal organization connected to the League of Shadows. He's an intelligent man. They had this dude going, Step.
Yeah.
Oh, this nigga was dumber than Frankenstein.
Yeah, yeah. And he was walking so slow and moving so slow. I'm like, well, this is not Bane. Like, this is trash, man.
Like he's the type of dude where, because I'm like 6 feet 216, so I'm a fairly big dude. So
Mm-hmm.
like he's granted that dude is a lot bigger than me, but I
Mm-hmm.
would fuck his ass up because he can't even move,
Yeah,
Jason.
for
He
sure.
can't move.
Yeah, for
I,
sure.
I would wipe the floor with that motherfucker because
Mm-hmm.
for the time it takes for him to do a clothesline, which is not even a punch, a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
By the
Mm-hmm.
time he moves, I would have hit that motherfucker like 10 times,
Yeah,
and
for
and who
sure.
knows if it would even have taken that much to knock him down. But let's just assume it takes 10 hits. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you, I pop that shit off before he can hit me once.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. He was too big, you know what I mean? Couldn't do
Yeah,
nothing. It was a
couldn't do
waste.
shit. So yeah,
Absolutely.
fuck that movie.
Yeah, I
I,
agree
I
with you
I
100%.
own it on Blu-ray and it's in the most shiniest condition because I
Here,
like comic book movies that much. But Jason,
that you bought it, I wouldn't even have wasted a
hey,
squad
hey,
of
hey, hey,
piss on that movie.
Danny will tell you, Jason. I got Batman and Robin. I got Captain Marvel. I got Dark Phoenix. Danny, you remember that picture I sent you of the Blu-rays that I purchased? Remember that the current ones?
I think
Okay,
he's not there.
damn. I went to get a popsicle or something. But
Probably.
but yeah, but no, I sent him a picture because usually I buy my movies in bulk, Jason. Like back in the day when I was in high school, that's when I started my movie collection, and I purchased those cases that you could put them in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it holds like 60, 80, 100, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I remove them from the box and I put the discs in there.
Got you.
The only time that I keep the boxes is if I don't have another um, organized case to put them in. So
Got
most
you.
of them, I have like I think 9 of them at this point, which is a lot. So most of them are completely full, and then some spaces are reserved for certain shows and movies when I get them. But nowadays, especially like I want to say the last 4 or 5 years, I tend to wait, and I mostly nowadays just get comic book movies. I'll wait like, maybe I'll get them once or twice a year, and I'll end up buying like 5 to 10 at a time, and I pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to when they become available. I'm like, okay, now that these five are available, I just get them all at once. Like so, Captain Marvel was one of the MCU movies that I didn't have. The same thing with Endgame, and also the same thing with Far From Home. And getting those three completed my collection in terms of what we have available to us at this moment in time.
So you have the
So
whole Marvel collection?
yeah, I have every single MCU movie
You're
on
good.
Blu-ray.
You're
And
good.
I told him because when we were talking about Captain Marvel, I was like, you see this? I had that shiny ass Blu-ray package of Captain Marvel and all of her shoehorn glory right there in my collection.
If I don't like it, I ain't buying it.
No, I got you, Jason. But you know my position, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this stuff that much to where I'm like, it was funny because when I was at the register buying that shit, Jason,
Mm-hmm.
I had like I want to say 6 movies. What I have, I had Captain Marvel, Endgame, Spider-Man: Far From Home. What else I had? Dark Phoenix. Then maybe two other ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, "Oh man, he's like, you must be a collector or something." I was like, "Man, I really love this shit, man. Marvel, DC, sometimes other comic book characters from different brands, but like I'm all over this shit, man. I didn't seen all this in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
multiple times, with
Mm-hmm.
exception of Dark
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix, but and then when he picked up fucking Dark Phoenix and Captain Marvel. And I just like kind of sighed and I like reached in my wallet and pulled out the 20s. He's like, why? He's like, you sounded kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I didn't like these. Then he
Mm-hmm.
started laughing. He was like, how come you buying them on Blu-ray then? I was like, hey man, sometimes in life, man, the fan in me, I just
Yeah, yeah. It's part of the collection. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you like you're collecting something, you want to have them all. I get that. Me personally, I just mm-mm. If like I would never spend money on Iron Man 3. Never.
oh man, I think I got that like the
You buy blank,
second.
won't you?
Pardon?
Oh, I have fucking Blank Man, and I have Iron Man 3 as well.
So you go.
I'd buy Blank Man and Meteor Man before Iron Man 3, hands down.
Yo, I still remember when I purchased Blank Man from a store and shit. Like
Hold on.
me and that dude had a hell of a conversation about that movie before I bought it. Yeah. Wait, Danny, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Did you hear any of the stuff I was saying about Bane and the quality of what makes a good fighter in terms of their size or any of that shit?
I heard a little bit of bro. Man, work giving me a fit today. I'm telling you.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, no worries, no worries. I was just going into that and then telling
I know you guys talking about. I know that Bane in that Batman and Robin was crap. I agree with you on that.
yeah, yeah, that's that, and I just was going into like how you heard some of it about the mechanics of fighting and what too big actually means and how I would have advised him if I were the director of that movie. His size in conjunction to the actor who was playing Batman.
The perfect size fighter I've ever seen is like I think when you and I discuss it, like Blood and Bone. I mean, you can't get no. He's like to me, he's like as big as you can get and still have superior speed and power.
Well, let's see, like in terms of Blood and Bone, Michael Jai White was 235, right?
Shoot, he went
So
more than that.
yeah, he Michael Jai White has never been heavier than 240. I think the heaviest he's been is 235. Um, so I don't know what his potential is in terms of growth, but in terms of my own, like me being 216, I don't know what it's like to be 235, but that's not far off if I wanted to get to that. It's not that far. I mean, it's enough muscle to where we're talking about that it would make a huge difference with how it look on me. Cause you've seen how I look already, Danny. So like,
Mm.
that would definitely drastically change me once again. But I don't know how much I would like being that size. Like I would have to get to it first and then come talk to you about that. Because for me, um, the heaviest that I was while doing martial arts, right? The heaviest that I got was 180. And even then, I noticed that I wasn't as fast as I was when I was like 130, 140, 150, right? Um, so I was still pretty fucking fast, but it's just I was a little bit slower. But what I did notice is that what I lost in speed, I gained in power, Danny. So there was that.
Yeah,
If you get what I mean, like,
it's kind of
um,
like how Vegeta was in Trunks when he went into the hyperbolic chamber.
mhm.
Oh
Trunks,
God.
Trunks
Right.
started. He was so much stronger, but Vegeta to realize, look, you can only get this size and keep your speed and stuff. Because you get if you increase and you be more bigger, physically bigger, it would slow down your speed and you never be able to hit cells. So he figured it out. It's kind of like that what I was talking about. You gotta each fighter gotta figure out what's their perfect weight per se, where they can have the maximum power and maximum speed.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to fighting, the size and stuff like that is not always necessarily where the fighter would get their strength. It's very dependent upon the person and how strong they are, and then whatever form of fighting that they're doing. Like it's actually really complex, and like I would be able to break it down per person in terms of like actual fighters that I know about in MMA. That there are very distinct differences, whether it be the same weight classes or different weight classes, and you can really spend whole segments talking about it, which is why they have different shows talking about the fights and the fighters themselves and their training habits and stuff like that. It's all very fascinating things. That's why that lifestyle is interesting because you have to keep it up. And any sort of lacking in any area could lead to you being defeated by somebody else. And it could be a couple of things or one thing. But like for me, um, when I defeated that black belt for the first time, because there was a couple of them that I beat. When I defeated that black belt, like that dude was definitely taller than me by a lot to the point to where, he could almost look down on me. He was damn near towering over me. Also, he was 50 pounds heavier than I was at that time as well. So you're talking about he had the height advantage, he had the weight advantage, and he also had a much higher rank advantage too in terms of martial arts. And I fucking wiped the floor with that motherfucker in seconds. And if Tremaine was here, I'll tell him to talk to you guys right now about that shit. Tremaine was there. My mom was there too. And Tremaine was the only one that was laughing. He was so happy when I fucked that dude up. I was actually surprised that Tremaine was that happy.
Yeah, for sure, bro. His brother. Of course he'd be happy for you.
No, I know. Like he had the attitude like, yo, that is my brother that fucked
Yeah. That proud shit. You're like, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was more proud than I was, because I was proud, but Tremaine, like, he was like 10 times more proud than I was.
I could see that.
Because my mindset at that moment, Jason, like I was telling Danny, is that I was very arrogant. I was like, I'm gonna fuck this dude up, because one thing that I don't care about what humans think, but at the same time, in certain contexts, is like, I know what it's like to be underestimated, and everybody thinks that you're gonna get your ass whooped. So what I thought of as, I'm gonna do everything in my power to not only beat this dude, but I'm going to embarrass him in front of everybody, because the masters were there. I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do for this motherfucker right here, and that's what I did. And so I was not even trying in the way that I should have been, because I was already in my mind, I had already beat this motherfucker, because I'm like, I got every advantage over him. Number one, I was like, my potential is a lot higher than he is. He is just a generic martial artist, and I am Terrence. Like, I am the dude that spent years training myself from watching movies, while this motherfucker didn't even probably start martial arts yet. Like that's me. So my determination and everything was enough for me to win. And it turned out that my speed was better, my strength was better, my execution of all the kicks were much better than him, as to where he was sloppy. He can do all that kata shit, the blocking and doing what you need to do to pass the test to get your fucking belt. But in a combative situation, I fucked his ass up, busted his nose and everything, had that motherfucker run into the bathroom, get some tissues and shit. So he like, the thing that pissed me off too, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend. I was a little bit irritated, and then I got kind of mad because this motherfucker was smiling at me, right? Like, he had that look on his face like he was about to fuck me up. Like, okay.
He said, Leroy.
Yeah, he had that Leroy like kind of look on his face. I was like, all right. So I'm joking about it, but I don't know if he.
Well, I wish he'd have said, "Playtime's over, boy."
Playtime's over.
Danny, if he would have said that, Danny, that probably would have been enough. That would have been enough to set me off, because I was already heated.
I would pay good money for that, boy.
He look at Terrence and say, "Who's the master?"
Oh shit, man! Like, I mean, I could laugh about it now, but honestly, I'm telling you, if he would have came at me with any familiar line that made it seem like he was better than me, I would have. Ooh, shit! You thought that was bad.
Who's the master? You say, show enough.
Right. Hey, I'll tell you, both of you, boy. Like, even if he would have said, I'm telling you guys, if he would have said this, look here, low rank, I would have, oh hell no, like, I'd have been like, man.
Oh goodness.
So yeah, man, like, I mean, it was one of those things, because I think my third tournament that I went to, I would like to tell you guys about that. Danny, I didn't tell you about that, right? The third, I didn't like go into like my tournaments and shit. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if you guys want to hear it, like, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Sure.
All right. So, this third tournament I went to, it was one of those things where you had the different Taekwondo schools from around California. We all met up at a certain location, and we had the Koreans come in, and because they're just, man, they're fucking killers when it comes to Taekwondo, because that shit comes from over there. So we come in with our school, the different schools come in, and some of them I recognized because I had dealt with some of them in like tournament 1 and 2, and a lot of them I didn't know. But when those Koreans came in, boy, it's just the demeanor, man, the posture and everything. They had like that very militant kind of movement, as to where like all the American, fighters, they look kind of They had the hunchbacks. They were joking around. From a movie standpoint, the audience would think the Koreans would fuck us up just because of how they came in the fucking auditorium, which was definitely the case
It's kind
for
of
a
like
lot
the
of
best of
people.
the best.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Dan. We on the same wavelength. I was just about to bring that shit up. Yeah, best of the best. That's 1 and 2, man. Those are my movies, boy, right there. I like the third one
Yeah.
better, but fourth one was
Which
trash.
which was the one where they took the Asian guy and put him in the tournament where he had to fight all the guys?
That was number 2.
That one was sick.
He had to fight
Yeah,
the one that killed his brother,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was in number 1. Yeah.
Tommy Lee.
Hmm.
Yeah, those movies were good. I like those.
Yeah,
1 and 2, good. I don't know if they made any other ones because I didn't even see them. So
yeah. There were 2 other ones because they made 4 of them.
yeah, there's two.
Yeah, like third one was cool, like a little different. Fourth one was trash.
Sure.
They should have stopped after 3, but
Mm.
damn, I don't even remember. I don't remember the villain or anything in the fourth one. Like
I
if I
know
were to,
the one was when they did the Olympic thing, Americans versus the Koreans, or whatever.
That was the first one.
yeah, that
And
was
the
the first
second
one.
one when they went and fight that guy in the gladiator in the arena, or
Yeah,
whatever.
And
yeah, that was the second one. Yeah,
he had to beat like 10 guys or something like that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the second one.
yeah.
And then the
I
third
don't
one,
remember the third one.
the third one was when Tommy was dealing with those fucking neo Nazis.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that one now.
Yeah, yeah. He had went to this town and she was like trying to get away from everything, and he met up with this lady and all this stuff. And then next thing you know, you found out that this preacher, this black preacher, was killed. And Tom was like, "What the hell?" They was like, "Yeah, we got a bunch of neo Nazis around here." Tommy
Mm-hmm.
had to beat the shit out of all of them. So that was
Mm-hmm.
definitely entertaining. But yeah, so I'm in this tournament, and Danny, like I said, I don't really have a lot of humans that I'm cool with. Well, I mean, I do have a lot of friends, but like in comparison to the amount of humans that I don't care for, it's considerably small. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my buddy Carlo is a guy that I met when I first started Taekwondo. In fact, on the first day, and his hair, he looked like Vegeta, Danny. Like when
Damn.
Vegeta's in basic form,
Mm-hmm.
and he caught my attention because of how he looked. Filipino dude, but like he looked just like Vegeta, like that hair and shit. I was like, damn. So he caught my attention because he was, doing some bag work. He was punching. I came over to him. I was like, you did boxing before this? He was like, yeah, I was doing that for like 3 or 4 years. And I was like, yeah, I could tell, man. So it was just a little bit after that we became good friends, and almost every weekend, and then it got to every other weekend, but for the most part, every weekend he would come over to my house and we would practice martial arts for 3 4 hours at a time, and we would be in front of my house on the front lawn doing that shit. So the neighbors come out, people driving by, sometimes they stop and watch us. We was just jumping and flipping all over the fucking place and shit. It was like a fucking movie scene in front of my house and shit, right? But man, like he was real cool, and he definitely was with me. And I want to say all 3 tournaments, but I don't remember him being in the first one. He would have to remind me, but he was a really good friend of mine. And if he was still around, like I definitely would have, had him do stuff where we would make like short films and do like some martial arts type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that definitely would have been on the table for sure if he was still around. Like he just kind of vanished on me one day. I remember I went to his house a few times. So like I remember I had forgot where it was, and then I remembered the street. I went down there, I went and knocked on his door and shit.
He was
Different
gone.
family. He was gone. I was like, unless I got the wrong house. And then like a couple years passed. I went to GNC to get some like protein and vitamins and shit. And then
Mm-hmm.
he showed up. He came in. I was like, Carlo. And then we just did the greeting and shit. He was happy as fuck. And he gave me a cell phone number, and he had like one of those what the humans call them burner phones, just like temporary type
Mm-hmm.
shit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I called him. We talked a few times, and then it disconnected like he told me it would. Never saw him again after that.
That dude was probably on the run.
Shit, man. I don't know, but like Carlo, like you guys are familiar with Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and him was we had that Ryu and Ken kind of relationship going in terms of martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best fights that I've ever had was with Carlo because he was definitely my equal for sure. Like when the first time when we sparred, man, we fucked each other up. It was bad. We weren't even really fighting. That was just a sparring, and we fucked each other up. So yeah, man. But anyway, Carlo, he was in that tournament with me when he had the Koreans and shit. And when I wasn't fighting, I would watch Carlo fight. Carlo would be fucking these Koreans up, man, and shit. And I was like, cool. Then when he wasn't fighting, it'd be time for me to fight, and then he would come over and watch, my fights, and I was fucking them Koreans up too. I was a little bit surprised. Like I was like, damn, no, they gonna do me like in best of the best and shit. Like I'm like, it's gonna be one of them coming up in there with an eye patch, Danny and shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yep. So
Just yeah.
it got to my final match where definitely Korean dude, a little bit taller than me. So the match starts, and it felt like I'll never forget it because it felt like a movie. You had the different benches and stuff for people's family and friends that were watching,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt like any number of martial arts movies you could think of where you got a lot of people watching and cheering for that last fight, between the main character and the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it felt like in that moment. So it was like one of the most intense moments that I've ever felt in my life because
Yeah, for sure.
that's how my brain
Mm-hmm.
interpreted the situation. It was like
Mm-hmm.
some movie shit and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing he was missing was the eye patch, boy. Like, but so yeah, it starts off and I kick this dude clear across the ring. Now, bear in mind, like, I'm nowhere near as big or as strong as I am now. But I still
Mm-hmm.
had a certain kind of power.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of always think about like, man, if I was me now back then, man, people be dying
Mm-hmm.
and shit if I were to fucking kick them and punch them anyway. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
kick this dude clear across the ring. He charges. He does like a flying side kick. I duck. He flies over my head. Then I kick him again with a spinning back kick. He flies again. But somehow he's doing kicks on me, and I'm blocking damn near all of them. He got me a couple times, but I blocked most of his shit. And somehow he has more points than me, even though I'm the aggressor of the fight. I'm clearly kicking this dude across the fucking mat like a rag doll, but he has more points than me. So I look over at my masters. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I should be like 1,000 points ahead of him. They tell me like, Terrence, no, keep fighting. Just concentrate. Now, bear in mind, I'm talking to them when I'm supposed to be fighting because I'm that irritated. But I had a segment where I could do that because that motherfucker was on the ground across the mat. You know what I mean? So so we keep fighting and shit, and it gets to the end. This motherfucker beat me. He had like a couple points ahead of me, like 3, 4 points, whatever it was. And I was fucking pissed. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought about
Mm-hmm.
murdering him. I thought about killing him and taking his trophy. I was mad as hell. And I told my master, I'm like, this is some bullshit. They cheated for him because he's Korean. This is bullshit. Set up like it. I was fucking mad as hell. And
For sure.
Danny, you both remember the ending how they gave him the trophies and shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Danny,
Mm-hmm.
you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, now check this out. So I'm talking to my masters and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Because granted, I'm not on the side watching. Maybe you guys saw something because I'm in the fighting perspective. Did it look like he should have won that fight? It was like, no, Terrence, like we had you winning by a lot. Not a little bit, wasn't close. Like I said, they were like you were the aggressor. You were kicking him across the ring for every time that he kicked you, you exchanged like, 3, 4, 5 kicks that connected every time. So you should have won that by a couple miles. And I was like, then what happened? Like, so they cheated me. So the fucking they cheated me. I was fucking pissed. So this dude comes over and he's like, man, he's like, you should have won that. And when he said that to me, that was when I decided to not kill him. I don't want to kill him anymore after that. And
Mm-hmm.
he like completely from that statement, he managed to calm me down just with that phrase. He's like, man, you should have won. He's like, I was surprised that I won. He was like, cause he was like, you were just killing me. You were knocking me everywhere. And I was like, man, thank you. I thought I won too, man, but apparently not. But I was like, it was a good fight though. you're a talented fighter, and I definitely was trying to beat you, which is why I was doing all the kicks and making sure to kick you across the ring to make sure that it was no question that I would win. But and then after that, we did the handshake, so it was sort of like a ending of the best of the best in a way.
Mutual respect as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good that he was able to calm you down before you went crazy.
You
I,
know.
I'm not fronting, guys. I was mad as hell. Cause I was, like I said, in my head, I was like, I had my arm raised, like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, yeah. So it just was emotional for me on different fronts. It went from just, like I said, I wanted to kill that dude. Not saying I would have, but I was that mad. It went from that to me being calm to mutual respect. It was just like a whole sea of crazy ass thoughts and feelings. And then that led to my masters coming over, like, it was like, man, T, it's okay. And they kind of had that proud look on their face. They was like, see, you
Hmm.
were all mad and shit. And this dude came over and told you that. You weren't expecting that, were
Hmm.
you? I was like, no, 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 sir. I was not. So yeah, I
Humble
just
dude,
wanted
you
to.
know.
Mm,
I said a humble dude, you know. That's someone that knows
yeah.
he got his ass kicked and shouldn't have won, and literally had to come and tell you like, "Yo, I shouldn't have won." You know.
Yeah, I just I just wanted to share that with you guys because that was a very big deal moment for me in the sense of the overall experience of the
Hmm.
tournament, and then
Hmm.
also the end result of everything, and then how it came to its ending.
Yeah, man. Good story. Thanks.
Yeah, Danny, you have any thoughts or questions or?
Nah, bro. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Like I said, I got jobs issues going on. I'm
Hmm.
listening.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Keep
Hmm.
texting back and forth to job issues.
Oh yeah,
I'm just
yeah, yeah. No worries. Yeah,
Life comes in sometimes, Danny. You know, nothing you can do
yeah,
about that.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not tripping on that at all. Jason,
Hmm.
you have any thoughts or questions or anything or?
Nah, man. I'm just like, you know, like I said, like when you're telling the story and your guy comes over and it's humble, it just shows you the type of respect that fighters have for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right because no matter even that time when I busted the black belt's nose, the other ones that less severe, it was more of a subtle ass whooping, but with him, I really wanted
Hmm.
to make a statement. I wanted it to be loud, kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
but even still, I still respected all of the other martial artists, whether I knew them or not, because I'm like, we're all here together, and we're trying
Absolutely.
to learn. Some people are better than others, but I use them all as examples of how I
Hmm.
can better
Get
myself
better
as a
yourself.
martial artist. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. It's always learning experience, you know, win or lose. You always learn what you can do, what you can't do, and what you need to work on. So,
here's a quick one that's gonna make you and Danny laugh. Danny, you listen?
I'm listening.
All right. So this was a day I got my ass whooped bad. Like this, I'm talking about. I don't know. The only other pain that's probably worse than that was when I got my barcode tattoo on the back of my head. It was I was dealing with Master Danny that day. He was teaching a class. The other masters weren't there that day. Master Danny, you see him, kind of an unassuming guy.
hmm.
He doesn't look like he could take on 10 dudes at one time, but he definitely can.
Hmm.
Like I'm talking about the movie scenes. You remember when
Hmm.
Michael Jai White was kicking like 10 dudes and shit like that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's Master Danny. He can do that
Mm-hmm.
shit. So and so yeah. So Master Danny's teaching the class, and he's doing like all these different jump spin and back kicks and wheel kicks and for the. Do you guys remember Tommy from the Power Ranger, the Green Ranger, when he was first introduced? You guys recall
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember when they showed Tommy, he was jumping up and doing those spinning kicks and shit as he
Hmm.
was warming up?
Hmm. Hmm.
I was able to do that on my own by teaching myself that, right? Like I was able to jump high as hell and do that with perfect execution because I kept, studying that for hours.
Practicing.
I must have practiced that one kick for like 3 to 4 months, only that
Mm-hmm.
kick. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was. So I was able to do that, but I didn't think that it would be very practical in an actual fight that I would be able to jump up, spin, and kick somebody like that, right? So Master Danny told me and the rest of the class, like, hey, you shouldn't do certain moves in real fights. There's a difference between the stuff you see in movies that make people
Mm-hmm.
cheer and
Mm-hmm.
practical applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, okay, he's definitely making sense. You're not gonna be doing all these spinning flips and shit in real life unless you want to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then he said, however, there are some exceptional martial artists that in real fights can do spinning flip kicks and stuff. And they're fast enough and have enough experience to pull that off in a way that most people should never even think about attempting it in
Mm-hmm.
real life situations, especially
Mm-hmm.
dangerous ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, he's doing all these kicks and shit. And I tell him, I say, Master Danny, there's no way that you can use that in real life. That wouldn't work. I mean, somebody would see that coming. And the class kind of got quiet, right? And I hated that they did that shit because it made it feel like I was in so much trouble. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
motherfuckers, like, so Master Danny, he does this thing where he puts both his hands in front of his body,
Mm-hmm.
and he slowly walks over to me, Danny, and Jason, this shit is fucked up. I didn't deserve this, or maybe I did. I don't know. So he walks up. He's like, so Terrence, he's like, remember I told you and the rest of the students that you should always ask questions, anything you're not familiar with, any sort of confusion, you should ask, and we'll be happy to clear up any sort of confusion and answer any of the questions that you might have.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, yes. Like he kind of nodded his head like, glad you understand that, Terrence. He sort of turns away. This motherfucker jumped up so damn quick, left the ground, and he did a spinning back kick and kicked my ass all the way onto the stage of the dojo. So I flew back damn near 6 feet off my fucking feet, Danny and Jason. Oh boy, I was on that stage. Oh, like just I'm telling you, that shit was stupid painful. And Jason and Danny, man, like as soon as I said you
But
can't
you
do
wish
that
you
shit,
kept your mouth shut down. Look.
No.
absolutely, I was on the ground like, oh fuck, shit, like. And the thing that made it worse was that Master Danny was standing there, and he had the most polite smile, like after you whoop
Mm-hmm.
somebody's ass, like
Mm-hmm.
any more. He had that look, any further questions kind of look thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Do
and
I need to
nobody,
show you more?
right.
Yeah.
And then he's like, so how do you feel about what just happened? I was like, sir, master. My brain couldn't really. I was speaking gibberish because I was trying to get over the
Catch your
pain that
breath.
was, yeah. And the students were just sitting there laughing. I was like, okay, so we're family, but when I get kicked by one of the masters, you gonna let me down the stage and shit, huh? Like it. So, so I get up and stuff. And Master Danny starts walking towards me, and I'm kind of like my body starts shaking in response. I'm like, hey man, hey, we don't need no second kick. You almost killed me, sir, sir. So he just puts the hand on my shoulder. He's like, come on, Miss Harris, back to training. I'm like, you want me to continue training? Huh? All right. Yeah, like it was a cool moment, but it was very, very painful. Very, very
For
painful.
sure.
I would have want to whip his ass if he done me like that.
Danny, let me tell you something. If my brain would have thought of that for 2 seconds, it probably would have rendered me unconscious for me putting it in that much danger. Because there was no way that even if Master Danny had one leg, that I would be able to do anything to him. Like he number one, he was too fast, he was too strong, and at that time he was like a fifth degree black belt in Taekwondo. There was no fucking way. Like the way that I did that other black belt, I ain't doing that to Master Danny. That shit ain't happening. I didn't even see him do the move that he did. All I saw was, oh, okay, Terrence, you got a question. Boom, and then I just was done that fucking fast. I couldn't even really learn from that because I couldn't see what he did. There's no time to think, to block, to blink, to nothing. I just left my fucking the ground and I was flying. I literally flew. I don't think I've ever felt that since, like leaving the ground that much with distance to the fucking blow. Like that shit was horrible.
All this fighting and stuff. You remember that movie Digstown?
Yep, that was awesome.
Wait, who was in that one?
That was Lou Gossett Jr.
And
10 men in one night.
For
his bet.
That was a good movie. If you haven't seen that, Terrence, watch that movie.
Yeah, that don't sound familiar.
Yeah,
Lou Gossett Jr. was his old boxer that was like the best at his time. He had this one guy who was a hustler. So he went to this town where this guy kind of owned the town and stuff. He sent ringers there just to piss the guy off. And one of the ringers outplayed his son for pool for was Corvette or some kind of fancy switch. And they made this big bet. They kept adding on and on. And the bet was, could that guy beat 10 men in that town? And Lou Gossett Jr. was a boxer. It's a very good movie.
Definitely don't sound familiar.
Yeah, it's very good. As Lou Gossett Jr. and oh my God, I keep
James Woods.
James Woods, that's it. James Woods.
Oh, I remember James Woods. Yep, every time I hear him, I think of John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yep.
that movie was good too, though.
That was my shit with fucking Valak, the actor that played Terry Silver in The Karate Kid Part 3. Oh my man, let me tell you something. The sun go down and motherfuckers are coming out the dirt. It's time to leave.
For real.
Like, unless I talk to them, I'm like, hey, the only way that I'm not running is if you guys say you're gonna turn me. Because if there's anything but you're gonna turn me, I'm gonna start like running now. I don't normally run, but I do like exercising, and I might as well exercise now to save my life. So anybody want to turn me? Because some humans like, no, I don't want to be turned. Let me tell you something. Somebody want to turn me into a vampire werewolf, they could turn me all day, every day, because that's what's up. Now you've given me extra strength and speed. Oh,
power.
Hell yeah, all that shit. Depending on the vampire, the werewolf, who knows what other supernatural abilities come along with just the standard stuff for whatever said vampire or werewolf. They're like, yeah, but you may be losing a part of life. I'm like, what you mean? Oh, well, you won't be able to go out during the day. I'm like, man, fuck the day. I'm a night person anyway, so I ain't losing shit. I'm like, well, you gonna have the cravings for the thirst of the blood and stuff. I'm like, hey man, blood is delicious. I like blood. In fact, I was thinking about drinking it yesterday. So go ahead and turn me. You got to bite me on my right side, though. I feel like that's where most of the blood is. The left side be kind of stingy sometimes, so the right side is where you want to bite me.
Well, if I had to choose between them killing me or turning me, yeah, you better turn me. You know what I mean?
So, Danny, so would you want to be turned like Jason?
I think I like the werewolf thing better.
Okay, so if I showed up to your place, Danny, and I was a vampire, I was like, Danny, I'm gonna turn you. Like, would you be against that or?
No, no.
Because in the same thing with you, Jason. Because I'm thinking like, look, like
if you turn to my place with 7 Dragon Balls, I want to be a damn Saiyan.
Oh Lord,
fair enough. But I don't know why I would show up with those instead of using them for myself. But I got you.
You're gonna show up so we can make the wishes together.
That sounds fair, but sometimes in life I just would have. Now we talking about like the 1 wish or the 3 wish scenario.
Well, the 1 wish you wish whatever you want to. I want me and all my friends to be Saiyans.
Oh, okay. Now I do have this thing about power and world domination and stuff. So naturally, if I get that kind of power, I would want to exercise those sorts of things. And the first thing I'm gonna do is visit the White House like General Zod and Superman 2. I want my shit to be on the news and everything. I'm like, my name is Terrence, and this is how it's gonna be from now on. Any
Kneel,
humans that object to this shit, like,
kneel before Terrence.
Kneel before Terrence.
yeah, that's why I love that
That's
scene
crazy
too.
because the guy that plays our name is Terrence.
Yeah,
Really?
Terrence Stamp. Yes, Terrence Stamp. Danny, you on point, man, because there's been so many humans that have mentioned that to me, like, Terrence. God's real name is Terrence. I'm like, yes, I know.
So now we know where it comes from, man.
Like yeah, because remember even that scene in Avengers 1 when he's like Neil, and then he's like, "Is this not your natural position? Your species yearns to be ruled."
That's you, ain't it?
I was just like, "Yo."
Which Zod did you think was better? That one or the one on Man of Steel?
Every single Zod that I've seen is good for different reasons. But between the two, between that one and Man of Steel, the Terrence Stamp Zod, he exuberated the wisdom and the whole, like, man, I believe that this dude is deadly without him throwing a single punch. So he was perfect for that. But Michael Shannon Zod, an actor who I really like, I've seen the majority of his movies. But Michael Shannon as General Zod in Man of Steel, he had the aggressive and intimidation down 100%. Like, that Zod was the one where if he be like, "You gonna come on this ship? Nah, Zod, I want to do something else with my life." He gonna kill your ass on the spot. When
I tell you, the Zod,
him up,
the
he was like,
Zod
"I will find you." Like, yeah,
I will find you. Yeah, that shit made me like, yep, my ass is gonna get found. This is gonna be a problem. That's what I would have said.
Even Kal-El's mom was crying though when he said that. Remember, she was scared as shit. She was like, "I hope this motherfucker never get out."
I like the original Zod more, just because he had that. He never got angry. But he knew don't fuck with him.
Hey,
the
Zod on Krypton
he did get angry at the end of the movie.
At the end, right at the end.
It was when Lex Luthor wanted more land and shit.
Yeah.
He didn't deliver him Superman like he wanted. He's like, "Where is Superman?" Lex is such a fucking out. This dude kicked his feet up, was like, "Oh, well, General Zod." And then he lit a cigar. Oh, like, this is fucking awesome. And then when Zod was like, "Kill him," he told his henchman to kill him. Then that's when he's like, I'm just kidding." And then Superman shows up, says one of the best Superman lines.
Thank you,
Would
Lord.
you care to step outside? When Superman says, "Would you care to step outside?" Somebody's getting fucked up. So he said that, and at that point, Zod yelled at the top of his lungs. That was like the first time he was mad in the movie.
The Zod on Krypton was hell too.
Yeah,
I liked him too.
See, that is an example of, because my friend's mom was just like, "So we all saw that Zod is black, right?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, "How do you feel about that?" I'm like, "Well, I'm still not in favor of that. However, there is a different scenario with Zod. The reason being is that I've seen Zod done so many times that to where if you change him, I will give it a pass as long as the actor is good. What I don't like is when I've never seen a character and you just fucking change him. I'm like, you haven't even done this character yet and you're already fucking the character up." So Zod is in a special kind of category. So Zod was good as hell on Krypton, black or otherwise.
Yeah, he was. Plus, the actor is pretty good too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked him. I liked him as
he's that actor is from what I've seen from him, which is not much, but from what I've seen from him, he's good at playing serious characters, like any sort of characters with any sort of commanding presence. Like, he's good at those. So
he played on. He was Oliver Queen's stepdad.
Yeah, that's right.
First or second season of Arrow.
That's right.
He also played in that last Punisher.
Yeah, he
was
he
was on Warzone too. Yeah,
that was my favorite. That was my favorite Punisher. I like him even better than the one on Netflix.
Now, see, to me, John Bernthal is my favorite actor who has played Punisher, because, like, when it comes to the acting and the nature of the character, he has all the stuff that everybody else was missing. Because, like, Dolph Lundgren's Punisher was good. However, it was like, okay, number one, he ain't got the skull on his chest. Number two, he's placed in a very generic environment that doesn't allow him to be the full nature of the character.
I didn't like
there.
compared after seeing all four of them. I like his the least.
Oh yeah, for sure.
During the time, I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But after seeing one with John Travolta, that Punisher was hell.
Well,
but to me, go ahead.
The Thomas Jane one was cool, but that's not his Punisher was not Punisher. He was
the Punisher. Nice. I like on that part was when he started taking revenge on all of them. How he was setting them up.
Mm-hmm.
The second half of the movie was better than the first half.
Well, here's the thing. I like that one, and I own that movie. I've seen it a bunch of times. Thomas Jane as Punisher is better than Punisher the character, because like in the movie, Punisher's too nice. He's way too nice. He does kill people and he sets the family up, but when you compare that to John Bernthal's Punisher or Ray Stevenson's Punisher, he's the little fairy princess version of the Punisher. He's not tough enough.
Ray
He's way too nice.
Punisher. Warzone.
Yeah,
that shit was hell.
See. So, but I'll say this though about the Thomas Jane one, the scene where his family was murdered.
Yeah,
that is one of the most intense scenes. There is not a single moment in the MCU to me that's as bad as Thomas Jane's Punisher's family getting killed. Not a single fucking scene. No.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
You have men hunting down men, women, and children and not caring.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. So somebody might be like, what about the little snap? I'm like, no, not nowhere near the same. Because number one, we knew all those characters are coming back anyway, and they just turned to dust. That's not the same thing as real people with real weapons coming and murdering an entire family. There's no fucking way that's the same.
That was one of my problems with Endgame too. It's like we knew the snap when the snap came, right? They already announced Black Panther 2 and all these movies, so it's like, okay, well, we know he's coming back, right?
You gonna come on my channel and so you get a problem with Endgame.
I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I'm just saying like they shouldn't have announced the Black Panther movies or all the movies they did. At least let people think, oh, Black Panther's not coming back. Really? They killed Black Panther?
That was a mistake, because while me and so many others, specifically the ones that read that storyline, we know that they come back. But most people, my mom, my brother, the person across the street, they had no fucking idea.
Exactly.
They were shocked. Exactly. I was only shocked from the perspective of they actually did it. I'm just like, oh shit, they did it. I didn't think they had the balls to pull this off. I wanted them to, and they did it. But like some of the people in the theater were like, what? They did what? Like, that was just stupid on Kevin Feige's part. Like, there's definitely some things where he's made some mistakes. I think that's one of them. For sure.
Yeah, like you don't get rid of the character and then announce he's having a part 2 before the last one even comes out.
Yeah, that was stupid. If I were, I know he has a team of advisors. He's obviously the one in charge, but he does have people that brush him up on Marvel knowledge and tell him suggestions of how to conduct things from a business perspective. Because you're not going to be by yourself. He definitely has right people with him. Yeah, so absolutely. I would have told him, sir, when people talk to you about this, you say, no, they're dead. You will never see them again. You make sure that they have no hope of anything. And then after the movie comes out, then you can start talking about, oh, yeah, Black Panther 2. Because bear in mind, you can still work on your plans, but you don't have to let people know about that shit. Don't remove the intensity of the film. Do not do that.
I think that when you're an actor or a certain, he wasn't really starting, but he was kind of like getting his stride. But when you step into Marvel, man, that's a whole different machine. I mean, I can only imagine the pace change from regular movies you're doing to like Marvel movies. I just bet I think it is so much more energetic environment. So he probably was kind of overwhelmed and caught up in it and might have made a statement carelessly before he really sat down and thought about it.
Yeah, it's possible.
That may be possible, but I don't buy that for a second, because Kevin Feige is always doing these interviews all the time.
Yeah, but they are the most disciplined actors about those movies. I've seen hundreds of, and when people start asking them certain questions, I can't say that. if I say that, then I'm going to get fined or I'm going to get blah blah blah. So
Unless you're Tom Harlan or Mark Ruffalo, then
I was just about to say that.
but I mean,
Yeah,
both of
they.
them have gotten better because they've got them lashings from Kevin Feige. He didn't spank
Mm-hmm,
their ass several times. Like,
mm-hmm,
told y'all.
hey,
mm-hmm.
I don't want to get rid of y'all. Like, I'm gonna give you like 10 more chances, but don't be testing me after number 10. Like, I ain't playing.
Like there's an interview where Mark Ruffalo literally says they all die at the end of Infinity Wars, and Don Cheadle's like, "Hey, you can't say that, man."
He was like,
He's
"Hey
like, "Oh,
man," he was like, "I ain't doing no interviews with you no more." And then they
you
started
know,
laughing. Like, and
you know what I
then
mean?
Mark Ruffalo said, "Like, oh, can we cut that out?" Like, damn, Mark, too
Yeah,
late,
you
buddy.
know, for real.
Even if they would have cut it out, somebody that was on that little stage or whatever,
Mm-hmm,
they already took notes. They was like, "Oh, we got
mm-hmm,
to get this shit out quick. You can cut
mm-hmm.
out the fucking dialogue all you want. Somebody heard it. Too bad."
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit, people looking for scoops and shit. You don't think they're gonna tell people that all these fucking
Mm-hmm,
Avengers are dying at the end of
mm-hmm.
a movie?
Yeah,
So,
that's one of the problems now. It's so hard to keep things under wrap, but Marvel does a really good job at that.
but I also got to mention the flip side of that. There's also a lot of trickery with the whole
Yep.
leaks
Mm-hmm,
scenario.
One of the
mm-hmm.
biggest things
Sometimes,
was that big scene where we see the Hulk stuff running
Yes,
in Wakanda.
yes,
Never
yes,
happened.
yeah.
So I don't really fall for that stuff that we see because I think Kevin Feige and John Favreau got hit to that stuff. They're like, yeah, we gonna throw this fake stuff in here,
Mm-hmm.
and then you ain't never gonna see it.
Yeah, they
that
do it on
that is
purpose.
that is that is different from what I'm talking about. Like what you're talking about with Hulk being in a trailer is called misdirection. Like when it comes to leaks, it's either it legitimately got leaked, they didn't want it to, or it's a leak only in the sense that they were trying to test it out to see how
Yeah,
people would
Mm-hmm,
respond to it in advance.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you somebody I follow. I don't know if y'all follow him. I think his name is Michael Ronan, and this show is Everything Always. I don't know where this guy gets his information from, but it usually be on point. I get a lot of my material from his stream. He got somebody on the inside because he has like some of the latest clips and analysis of this clip. Today he was talking about what was he talking about? It was something I was watching today. But his name is Michael Ronan, and I think he's connected because he's always giving away something, man. Every time you go in there, he's giving away like a PlayStation 4 or a damn Infinity Gauntlet set or something. And not the cheap one, I mean the nice
Mm-hmm,
collectors.
He definitely has sources. I can
mm-hmm,
guarantee you that. That I
mm-hmm,
mean, anytime that someone is giving you clips and direct specific information, they have not one source but multiple sources. Like
mm-hmm.
Well,
Grace
check,
Randolph is another person that has a lot of sources in Hollywood.
yeah, check her out. I mean, not, check him out. Don't get a chance. It's called Everything Always.
Now,
All right, well.
I remember when you sent me that one thing and I watched a little bit of it because when it comes to spoilers, I don't want to know. Like if I think for a second that there's going to be something too legitimate, I stay away from it. Now, if I accidentally see it, I do. Like I remember
Mm-hmm,
with Crisis on Infinite Earths, like there were a couple of scenes, like when I was watching part one, then part two, and so on. There was a couple of things that I saw in thumbnails that was an accident. Like when Lucifer Morningstar showed up, I saw
mm-hmm,
the thumbnail. I was like, "Fuck!" Like that'd have been a nice surprise. Then another one was the Ezra Miller Flash with the Grant Gustin Flash. That was
Uh,
mm-hmm.
the thumbnail I
well,
saw,
you
and I
better
was like,
not watch my stuff then, because I'm a firm believer in spoilers. I watch all the spoilers I can get,
Oh man.
and then that way I can form my own opinion and try to be up. And hey, I usually tell you, if you don't want no spoiler, then don't watch it. So,
okay, like
Danny, when
when you text me, Danny, you can don't give me anything specific. Like if you hear some shit and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know, Rogue shows up at the end of Captain Marvel 2 and beats the shit out of Captain Marvel and takes her powers. Like you don't tell me that. Don't tell me none of that.
okay.
well, Danny, when Force Awakens came out, like I
Uh-huh.
was so excited for a new Star Wars movie, They had this spoiler online. So I
Uh-huh.
read it and it was the whole script. I ruined the whole movie. I was sitting in Force Awakens and I was telling my son, I'm like, oh, this is where Han dies. And he's like, don't tell me. But
Well, I got a bad one because what was the one where Was it not Force Awakens? Was the one before that? What, Last Jedi?
Last Jedi. No,
Okay,
Last Jedi was the last one.
okay.
Second one. Sorry.
Yeah,
The one
Last
where they
Jedi.
introduced Luke Skywalker
Yeah, the
is
Last
what.
Jedi.
Yeah, yeah.
At
Well,
the end, that's when they. That's
technically
the
it
end.
was
That's
at
when
the
they.
end of Force Awakens. Yeah,
Yeah, the end of Force
Okay.
Awakens he was
And the
in.
next one was the Last Jedi, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I had spoiler for the Last Jedi, and it was talking about this fantastic scene where Luke gonna be controlling like 10 lightsabers, and he gonna be fighting Snoke. I was like, man, this shit here gonna be fire. Man, I went and I ain't saw none of that. Boy, I was mad as hell. I
Yeah.
was like,
Let,
what
let,
the
let me tell you
hell?
something. If I would have heard that, I would have had a different response because I'm just like, how does that make sense from a storytelling
Hey,
standpoint? Like,
he
I
was a master, and the way it was like he goes in and and Snoke is almost um is trying to get has taken control of Ray's mind, and he gets to come in and fight Ray, and but instead of him using one lightsaber, he uses multiple lightsabers, and this he's fighting with a lightsaber. Wow, I was like, man, Luke gonna be this
see,
damn bad. I said, Yoda can't even do this shit here. And
okay,
when
first
I
of
went
all,
there and didn't saw none of that happen, I was like, what the
okay,
hell?
Yeah,
see, first of all, I would have smacked the shit out of Kathleen Kennedy. I'd have been like, look, you said let the past die. Yet, but every time I look up, you're using an older character. Do you not understand from a writing standpoint, when you introduce new characters, you need to convince the audience why they're special? If
hmm
Luke comes in and kills Snook, why the hell did you introduce Rey or Kylo? These newer characters don't matter. And even without that scene, they don't really matter. They're just there. They don't have any substance to them. They
Yeah,
show up, they do stuff. That's it.
I I hear that part. I agree with you on that part, but at the same time, we know that Luke. We the last time we saw Luke, he was what Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, he
hmm
he he definitely
Eh,
defeated his
Okay,
father
and
in a lightsaber battle, and then he almost got killed by Darth Sidious, and his father had to save him.
hmm
okay, that's last time we saw him. So we know he's going off from being a master, and for all these years he left and secluded himself because he failed his rebuild of the Jedi, so to speak. So I want to see, okay, all this meditation, training, and stuff. I want to see him do something like what the hell, because kind of like they build up Yoda. We all know Yoda. We all felt Yoda was a badass, but we didn't see it until he came walking there real slow with the cane. And then he drops the cane and gets
hmm
his lightsaber and fight Dooku. We see just how bad Yoda is.
hmm
I want
Um,
the same thing for Luke. I didn't
I
get that. I know
I
he, I
I
know he
feel you
transported
there.
himself halfway across the galaxy,
hmm
which is an
hmm
incredible feat. I'm not saying it is, but the fight scene left it that he had with Kylo was very underwhelming to me. I just
No,
Okay,
felt
I would have.
cheated. I felt
Yeah,
cheated on that
absolutely.
part.
I would have liked him to have maybe had a major fight and
Yeah,
sacrificed
that's all
himself
I'm
that
saying.
way. You know what I mean?
That's all I'm saying.
But
I want to see an
I
awesome lightsaber scene.
I hated the way he died. But me personally, I don't like the fact that they die by using the Force. I just don't like
okay.
that.
See, here's the thing. This is multiple fronts that I got to tackle now. In terms of Yoda, this dude, the leader of the Jedi Council, I like, unlike a lot of individuals, I did not need to see him twitch his eyebrow to know that he was a badass. You're not the leader of a Jedi Council unless you are the best motherfucker that we've ever seen, like, period.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, but of course, like many others, of course I wanted to see him fight, but I'm just like, yo, man, whoever he's gonna fight, from a writing standpoint, should get wrecked. There shouldn't be no, like, oh, they're equal or none of that shit. Yoda should be able to wreck them quick. I'm talking about like the way that Bane wrecked Batman in that first fight. That's Yoda when he fights everybody. That's how that should be. But in the case of the movie, they made him a coward, which is why I don't like the prequels. His only reason for going into exile is because he fell down in a fight. Let me tell you what that's the equivalent of. It is, you have two UFC fighters. This person trips and falls, gets up and walks out of the octagon and not come back. Dana White will never let you fight again. You will be an embarrassment to the entire company. And Luke Skywalker did the same cowardly shit. You mean to tell me that this dude trained a bunch of Jedis, Kylo included, and because one went rogue and killed all of them, you're gonna go and hide when other people need you? Don't you think that this motherfucker is gonna rise up and gain power and kill people? You are the same coward that your master is. Like master, like student. Your
I want to
master
say
did the same thing.
I don't
I
agree
don't
with
think. Yeah, I mean it. I don't think Yoda was cowering. I think Yoda realized that. Listen, the Sith are taking over. They're gonna kill all the Jedi. I need to make sure I survive so that I can find the last. Well, he didn't really know about Leia at the time,
He didn't do any
but
of that though. He did nothing. Like in the original Star Wars trilogy, Luke had to go find him. He did not seek out anyone. If Luke would have never went to him, he would have never
no, no,
trained him.
no. He knew where they were at
It doesn't
because
matter. He
he
did, but he didn't do
told.
anything to help them.
but the thing is, he didn't want to force Luke into that life. You understand? If
But
Luke went into the life, then it's okay, but by his own choice.
I
But to
agree.
go search him out and say, "Oh,
that's
you're a Jedi," you know what I mean?
that from a writing standpoint, that is terrible. The way that you should have wrote that scene is not like that's one of the problems I have with the prequels is that these Jedi are exhibiting disgusting human behavior. Jedi's don't act like that. The whole what Qui-Gon did in episode 1, that he didn't save a bunch of people and that he only picked a little child because he has some stupid shit called metachlorians. Jedi's would never do that. They're about peacekeepers and protecting everyone. He would have saved that boy, his mother, and his friends. That shit made no sense. The entire prequel trilogy, they were doing things that don't make sense. You should have written it like Yoda fights Darth Sidious. We know that Yoda doesn't kill Darth Sidious, sure, but you should have fought it to where they're going back and forth. And the only reason, and I do mean the only reason that Yoda leaves is because he is being overwhelmed by a bunch of stormtroopers and Darth Sidious attacking him at the same time. So you have a fallback plan. The only thing that you accomplished in that scene is that you made Yoda look like a bitch because he got up and ran away. When
No,
that dude asked him
no,
what
no.
happened, what did he say? Into exile I must go. And he said that he failed. What did you fail at? All you did was run away. And what happened? Luke Skywalker did the same thing,
Aaron,
verbatim, the same thing.
no. Just you
Well,
said that you have certain rules and certain things that you're not gonna break and abide by, correct? That you have in place, your lifestyle, what and your beliefs. Is that not correct?
Yes. The Jedi
Okay,
have that too, though.
okay,
They're
but just
supposed
because
to.
yeah, but just because yours don't correlate with another person's, that don't make that they're a punk or
It
scared,
it, it, it,
whatever. You
it does it
just
does
it's
when it
just
contradicts existing writing. It was established in the trilogy, the first trilogy, that Jedi's care about everyone else before themselves. They will fight when other people cannot. You, under no circumstances, run away from a situation when people are dying and they need you. That should never have been an option. That is inconsistent writing, which is why a lot of people hate the prequels. The writing
but
is trash.
but you gotta understand too, if the Jedi start going off and starting like saving Anakin's mother and doing stuff like that, they're starting a war. They can't do that. They have to go in there when they're actually needed, when they're called on. You know what I mean? You can't just have an army and the army is going to invade someone because they think that it's wrong. You know, you have to be
That wouldn't
called on
happen though,
something.
Jason.
you got to recruit.
That would not happen with the people they were dealing with.
Okay,
Qui-Gon and them were dealing with basic slave traders. They have no power. That
okay,
is not a
Jabba
problem.
had power.
but before
Jabba
that,
had power.
okay,
No.
before that,
It was nowhere near on that level.
no, on that level,
Not
but
as the Empire, but
how
they
But
had
that's
underground
the thing
power.
though. Did Jedi's know when and where they can do something? Qui-Gon, from a writing standpoint, only took Anakin because he had metachlorians. He wasn't even going to take Anakin at first. That was the only thing that convinced him to do that. So technically,
Mhm.
he wasn't going to save anybody. That is BS. A Jedi would never do that. It doesn't matter about okay, this is going to cause war. Something on a smaller level like that, there is no war that's going to be caused. Not anything that the Jedi Council cannot handle. They've dealt with wars for the longest time, and the
Well,
biggest wars
not
came from people with power, actual power.
yeah, and not necessarily because listen, the Jedi go in there, they go and take Jabba, and next thing you know, Jabba's on the side of the Empire with all of his crew and everybody he has, which makes it harder for them to defeat the Empire.
But that's Jabba, though.
You
I'm
know, you
talking
don't want
about But I'm talking
I'm,
about the alien. I'm talking about the alien in episode one.
Yeah, it was Jabba.
I am.
It wasn't the original Jabba, but it was a form of a Hutt
I
who
understand that, but again, there is a certain approach. That character works off of bargaining, which means that he could have gotten Anakin, his mother, and all those little kids if he wanted to, if he would have bargained. He bargained for
had
Anakin.
nothing to he had nothing to bargain with.
Yeah, but that's because they wrote it that way. If a Jedi is determined to get people, they would have wrote it in a way that he could have saved those people. They didn't write it that way because they forgot what happened in the original trilogy. There's no way. The only reason that that character said, "Oh, you can't take the mother," is because he didn't have enough to bargain with. He was waiting for him to come up with a better proposal, but he didn't do
Mm-hmm.
it because they don't know how to write Jedi's properly. Why are they making terrible decisions? Why are they so in the
I,
dark? Why do they seem to be
I don't
exhibiting fear?
I don't know how you can say the creator of Star Wars does not know how to write the Jedi's.
Okay,
because
but to
Terrence,
be fair,
Terrence is the artist.
well, to be fair though, there's a reason why George Lucas left the prequels because his own fans, while we like him, he contradicted everything in the original trilogy. This has
I
been well
liked the
documented.
prequels. I
I do.
liked the
I do
prequels.
too. I do too.
And I liked them way more better than this saga that they just had. I'm sorry, I
Okay,
just do.
that's fine because I feel the same way only because of I just watched Rise of Skywalker in combination with comparing that to the two movies that came before it. To me, the only things that are of worth in the prequels that George Lucas did are the fight scenes. There's nothing else that is there.
Fight
The
scenes are
characters are
amazing.
terrible. The characters are terrible. They don't make good decisions. There's inconsistencies. There was never any such thing as metachlorians until the prequels. There's no such thing. He made that up on the fly, and it seemed like all he did was just create something to give people more of what they want instead of actually thinking about it. And George Lucas himself has mentioned that he's made mistakes with the prequels because of the fan
Absolutely.
backlash. Because
Absolutely.
we paid attention. I'm like, so you expect us to forget the shit that you told us in the original trilogy when none of this shit was a factor? Now you're just making shit up that doesn't match the other thing. That's how you
Well,
end up with sloppy material.
well, the metachlorians was never discussed in the prequels, so I mean to say that that was just something he could have been thinking about that like from years before. Be honest with you, the next trilogy was supposed to do had to do with the wills, which was a part of the Force, and so he's always thinking ahead of time, right? He just didn't put the metachlorians into the
Yeah,
movie, but
yeah, but
I'm sure they
that's
existed from the
fine.
script.
It doesn't matter though. If it doesn't matter what you think about, if you don't put it in there, you can't go off of it. Even Kevin Feige is very big on what you see. You see this, they're gonna bring it up later. This connects to this. This connects to
Mm-hmm.
that. There is no,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, I was thinking about it. I was gonna put it in Iron Man 2, but I didn't. There is none of that because it wouldn't make sense. You have to have it make sense. So he
Right,
could have
but
been thinking about a lot of stuff, but because he did not put it in there, it seemed sloppy and forced, and that's why people don't like the prequels.
Trigonometry,
I'm just saying,
trigonometry,
and also
trigonometry.
let's look at the acting. Come on, man, the acting in
Oh my
those movies
goodness.
was terrible. With Anakin,
um,
Anakin, oh my god, come on, Anakin.
you know
It,
what? Anakin's, I think the acting was done like that on purpose because those are the type of movies that George
Thank,
Lucas was trying to make.
thank you,
But
Jason.
if you watch the rise, sorry, Revenge of the Sith, when Anakin turns dark and he has that look on his face, I can guarantee you that is the reason why he got that role. Because he
okay,
has a look on his, like an evil look on his face when he turns bad, when he turns to Vader, he has that look. And I'm like, that's why he
let me
got the
tell
role.
you something about Hayden Christensen, the actor that plays Anakin. There's a reason why nobody will put him in their movies because he
Yeah, he's
sucks
not
as
a,
an actor.
he's not a
No, no,
great actor.
no.
I got you that. I got
He
that.
that scene that you mentioned when he looked mad, that is the only thing that he did well. When it came to any sort of drama sequences, he was as flat as a board. My pillow is a better actor than Hayden Christensen. He did not sell a single scene
Yes.
except for scenes where he was upset, which is not that
I,
hard to do. You and I can act
yes,
like
I
we're
My
get it.
upset.
the Jedi are evil.
Yeah, that. And they had some of the most cringy ass lines. Like,
Okay, yes,
turn
I
her
agree.
against me. Oh my god.
I agree. That was cringy. I agree. The way it was delivered and everything was cringy.
Awesome.
But for me, it made up when they had that fight. Made up for all the cringiness.
I'll tell you what. When I'm watching any movie, it's very rare that I will say that a fight scene makes up for a mediocre movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I am watching a movie as to where the only thing I care about are the fight scenes, I will simply skip to those moments instead of watching the whole movie. Like with the
You are
original
not
Star Wars
a Star
trilogy,
Wars fan.
I am definitely a Star Wars fan. I like when the
Wait,
material
hold
makes
on,
sense.
hold on. I'm sorry, Danny, but in Attack of the Clones, I skipped to the end.
That shit was boring as fuck.
Y'all,
I
Shit
have
was
to
boring
skip.
as fuck.
No, I skipped to the end. No, actually, I don't skip to the end. I skip to the part where he's being chased by Jango Fett. You know,
Look,
the rest of the beginning, I'm like, but I'm definitely a Star Wars fan.
I will say this again. The whole prequel trilogy has plenty of moments that I like. Every single one of them. They have moments. Not one, not two, not three. They got a bunch of them. And I've talked about them at length many times. However, I am very big on consistency, storytelling, and acting. And if you don't
Yes,
have
you
that,
are. Oh my God! Yes, you
I
are. God.
I do not care. I do not care what kind of trickery you try to get me with, because they're like, let me what was it? I think Gods of Egypt or whatever that shit was. Like, that movie looks great. It looks fantastic. The creatures and everything. The movie fucking sucks. You cannot
I didn't
trick
even
me.
bother.
You cannot. You shouldn't. It was a
It's
waste
good.
of time.
It's good.
It's trash.
Really?
Go watch it.
It's trash. Jason, spend 30 minutes looking up Egyptian history and then watch that movie.
Yeah, I know.
That's
basically
one thing.
whitewashed, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. They added a black person in there just to say, "Oh, look at how cool we are," or whatever. That's just one area. But then when you watch the movie, you come back and tell me if there's any substance in that movie, minus how things look. I don't. That's bad. When someone comes to me like, "Terrence, man, look at how cool it looks," or remember that one fight scene? Yeah, the fight scene was cool. What else you fucking got? That's all you got? To me, the only time where the fight scenes is the movie, there's only one genre for that. You know what it is? Martial arts movies.
Kung
When
Fu
you
movies.
watch martial arts movies, you watch those for the fight scenes. There are some exceptions as to where you have a good story and good characters. That shit like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. There are some exceptions. Or the Karate Kid Part 1 and 2. There are some exceptions. But when people watch martial arts movies, what do they talk about? They're not talking about the acting or this person's girlfriend. They're talking about the badass fight scenes that they saw.
But that's what George Lucas was doing too. It wasn't about the acting. Like, if you watch the original Star Wars, their acting is horrible. Even Harrison Ford, his acting is horrible. But in Empire Strikes Back, they got better. They probably went to acting school. They practiced more. So in Empire Strikes Back, the acting is on point. But in Star Wars, it's not that great.
That's okay. But here's the thing, though. With the first Star Wars, that's not entirely the best example, because that was an experimental project, which means that off the bat, there will be mistakes. But it worked, so then you can improve the next time around. That's how.
Yeah, they weren't expecting it to work, for sure.
But secondly, in terms of the prequels being what they are, which is just a bunch of flashy stuff where they're doing the fight scenes, of course he wanted it to be like that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made it like that. However, he strayed away from the thing that made Star Wars important, which is the storytelling.
Hey, can you read that, Jason?
Yeah.
What does that say?
Escapism.
Danny, I know. Okay, but
I'll let you talk for about 10 minutes. What? Read that for us, Jason. Can you read? I read.
Yeah, there you go. Because
the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. Okay, let me read that one more time. The tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy.
Okay. Again, I will say this because I've addressed that before too. I get that a lot of humans do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I don't need to escape from shit because my mind is like adamantium. It doesn't matter. When I watch entertainment, I don't watch it to escape. I watch it for entertainment. However, I also have a very analytical mind, and I can do both simultaneously. As you know, as I'm able to break down whatever I'm talking about in full detail.
Mhm.
Whatever point is brought up, I can always counteract it with my position. So, like,
Sometimes you just gotta enjoy the ride, though, bro.
Jason, I know that we were just talking about that with Blank Man, were we not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Down to your analytical powers. No one, you're on point. I will concede that your knowledge on this and probably all these topics we discuss is superior to mine. I have no argument. But damn, damn, this shit ain't real. I don't care.
Danny,
I don't care if
you're right.
I don't
Danny,
care.
you are right. How
I
many?
do not care if these movies don't connect perfectly. I don't care.
Danny, you're again. Hear me. I said you're right. Jason, you heard me say that, right? I'm only trying to make the discussion interesting. That's all my position ever is.
You're making it very interesting, but I don't agree with all that stuff you're saying about the Jedi stuff.
But I got you. But at the same time, it cannot be denied that one action led to something else. In terms of the prequels, it's about Flash. The original trilogy is about storytelling. The new series is about what? What is the new series about? It's about
nobody knows.
Here's Star Wars again. And
my problem with the new series is it had nothing to do with the Skywalkers. Like, you're ending the Skywalker saga, but you have nothing to do with them.
Correct. And also, what was the ending of Rise of Skywalker? The whole entire trilogy was nothing more than Rey getting a fucking last name. That was the whole point. She got a last name. Did fucking Luke showed up like, oh well, what's your last name, young lady? Oh, I don't have one. You look at Force Ghosts of Luke, which made me fucking throw up in the theater. That shit was stupid. And then you did that, and then she was like, then it played that music, and then she was like Skywalker. I'm like, I'm fucking done.
I hear what you. I'm gonna say this on this, and then we're gonna go to a different topic. Star Wars fans, in my opinion, are fickle. I agree. A very good point that Jason brought up, in my opinion, was that George Lucas was the creator. So whether he makes a mistake or not, it's his creation. But when he decided to sell it for that $4 billion or however much money it was, it became Bob Iger and whoever he put in charge of it, Kathleen Kennedy, their creation. So canon, as we know it, or as the definition tells us what canon is out the window. But Star Wars fans, and in some stuff, I'm not as deep as some are just, to me, crazy. I mean,
but to be fair,
I agree.
George Lucas said that he only signed it over to them in agreement that they would follow his plans, which they did not. Bob Iger wrote a book on how they fucked George Lucas over.
All right, but
so that's interesting.
Shame on George Lucas, because if I sell my car to you, Terrence, there is no way that I can really hold you responsible if I say, Terrence, I'm gonna sell you this Corvette, but I want you to let it stay red. Okay,
I will do that for you because you're my friend. I would do that.
You might, but if I got the money, and unless it's something sentimental or something, Terrence, if I wake up one morning and say, damn, I don't want this to be a red Corvette, I want this to be black or blue. If I got the towel in my hand and I own that, I'll give you the courage and say, look, Terrence, I know we agreed I can let it stay red, but I really don't want red. I want black. I'm going to change to black. I don't mean no harm. I mean, if you're mad, I really apologize, but I paid you good money for this. This is my car. I don't want to be red. I want to be black. Now, if you can like it,
see what you just said? They did not do that. They shook his hand like, no problem, Mr. Lucas. We're definitely going to do it. As soon as he walked out the door, they was like,
I'm talking about telling you after the fact. I'm talking about telling you after the fact.
Okay, but we're friends, Danny. I got you, though. I wouldn't do that to you.
Okay, I'm just saying. And this is law enforcement talk now. If it ain't in writing, if it ain't in some kind of contract, the shit ain't never exist. The
You're
days,
you're you're
the
one hundred
days of
percent
shaking
right.
people's hand and saying blah 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 blah. Them days is in the past.
You're
Well,
you're
I
you're
agree.
100% right. You are
Mhm.
So if it
absolutely.
ain't in that Star Wars
And
contract when they sold it, then George Lucas was a fool for believing that
but
they was gonna do that because Disney at the end of the day is about one thing. If it
Making
makes
money.
dollars, it
I
makes
mhm.
dollars.
if I may
and
say
Iger,
this,
yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just gonna say that Iger did technically say that it's a possibility that we won't make your movies. I have no problems with Disney taking the Star Wars and doing what they want with it. I have absolutely no problems with that. But
Thank
if you're gonna make the final Skywalker saga, make it about the Skywalkers.
I agree, but
You know what I mean?
you know why?
But
Because right now the benchmark is $1 billion, whether people don't want to
Mm-hmm.
admit it or not. If your movie make $1 billion, right now that seems to be the
For a big
that
blockbuster
that's
movie, that's
that's
the
that's
mark.
that
that's
seems to be
that's
the measurement
that
that people are
Mm-hmm.
saying successful or not successful.
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
rare. That's rare though. If you're not DC or Marvel or Fast
Um,
and the Furious or Star
I know,
Wars,
but
your
I'm saying
movie is
start,
not making a
Mm-hmm.
billion
that's what I'm
dollars.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In the $1 billion boys club, there's only 1,300
Mm-hmm.
billionaires in the whole United States. So there's only a
Mm-hmm.
certain number of movies that's making $1
Or
billion.
movies that, yeah.
So if you're in
Okay, but
if you're in that category, that family that's supposed to be making $1 billion movies, which Star Wars is, if they Kathleen Kennedy, that's her biggest argument why she ain't been fired now, in my opinion. Look, y'all trying to fire me, but guess what? Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. They're trying to fire me, but guess what? Force Awakens made $1 billion. They're trying to
and
fire me, but
and
guess
and
what?
guess what?
I ain't saying
Kathleen,
it's good. I ain't saying it's good.
right?
I'll
But
be lying
Disney
if
is
I
aware
said
of Kathleen Kennedy's failure as well in terms of the fans because she doesn't have creative control on the
okay,
Mandalorian.
but
They were
it's
smart
hard.
and they got John Favreau. He
I
should
agree.
control all that
Let
shit.
I agree with
let that box office keep going down like it's doing, and she's
Oh
gone.
yeah, she will be done fast as fuck. There's a reason why Disney
You
was
know.
like, we're getting John Favreau to do this shit, a person that understands the fans, because you've been fucking up, $1 billion or not. We got these fans out here talking about they ain't even gonna watch Star Wars no more. This shit is your fault. But for me personally, check this out. I'm gonna watch Star Wars because I like it.
Me too.
And
I've
even with
always
the
watched Star
current
Wars.
trilogy, there are things
Mm-hmm.
that I like, things that I don't like. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with the
Mm-hmm.
prequels. The original
Mm-hmm.
trilogy is the only one where I'm like, this shit is dope. I ain't got no
Mm-hmm.
problems. But
Mm-hmm.
everything
Yeah,
after
there's
that,
not.
well, let me put this in something. Okay, let's say for instance that I own a martial arts fighting team, and you're on that fighting team, and there's two other guys on that fighting team, and let's say for instance they use my philosophy. Okay, we're gonna we want to win the opponents, but we don't want to hurt them, whatever. But Terrence is on there, and you like, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna break their legs, whatever. I'm gonna fuck them up, and you undefeated. I couldn't even not say, Terrence, look, man, that's not the Graham fighting team way. We want to do these things armor. And I'm winning. And the contract said to win, and I'm undefeated. So it's kind of hard for someone to
To
fire
tell you
you
about
or
it.
whatever, say something when you undefeated.
well,
But if you're using that same
that's
style,
fine, but that's slightly different. But I get what you're saying. But what I will say is that Kathleen Kennedy is there because the movies have made money. Now they've been making less and less, and
Mm-hmm.
also Star Wars: A Solo Story is a fucking flop. That's also Kathleen Kennedy's
okay,
fault.
but that's her only one.
Again, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
piling up the failures. We're talking about under her watch, there's a flop. Under her watch, the Star Wars movies have been financially declining. Under her watch, this is the biggest Star Wars discrepancy in history, even more so than those whack ass Star Wars prequels. That's under Kathleen Kennedy's watch. Disney allowed John Favreau to come over and oversee an entire show because Kathleen Kennedy is not liked by a large portion of Star Wars fans. That's also why she's there. Disney was considering replacing her because of Star Wars fan backlash, also under her watch. So all I'm saying is, despite the financials, there are things that are in place that to where they can consider replacing her because while they want to make money, they cannot ignore the negativity that surrounds this woman. So on
Just
one hand, she's really
you know
successful.
how they
The
do
other
it
one does not.
because at the end of the day, he has a boss. That's my chair boss is Bob Biden. So you can't lay all of the negative flat blowback on her feet because Bob Iger should have a set of balls and say, look, this ain't working. But for whatever reason, he hadn't done that yet. So I don't blame all the failure or the unsuccessful or the decline in revenue all on her because she got a boss.
That's not as simple as that because I'll tell you this: Kevin Feige is in charge of Marvel Studios. His ultimate boss is Bob Iger, but before Bob Iger, his boss is Alan Horn. Alan Horn oversees everything from Disney, all their shows, all their movies. Marvel movies are connected to Disney. Kevin Feige will answer to Alan Horn before he answers to Bob Iger. Bob Iger is the guy that runs all the apparel, all the business stuff, all the stuff that keeps everyone making money. He put Alan Horn in a position to oversee the movies because he has talent, just like Kevin Feige with Marvel.
Alan Horn ass on the line too, then because he's allowing the product to go through negative, whatever you want to call it, because
now that I can agree with, but only from the perspective of him not stepping in. But it would be Kathleen Kennedy's fault, followed by Alan Horn before Bob Iger, because Bob Iger only steps in when you're talking about it gets to the extreme shit. That when Big Bob Iger walked through the door, somebody done fucked up 10 ways from Sunday. Then he gonna have to check everybody. But usually he don't gotta do that.
If we the nobody fans can see that, you mean to tell me his social media don't work? Bob Iger's social media don't work, and he ain't gonna force on his own company?
No, it does. But from his perspective, all I'm saying is not that you're wrong, Danny. All I'm saying is that he will. When we think that he should step in, he has the experience to know that it's not time for that because he's still making his money. People are still in their positions, so he respects them enough to allow them to handle it. That's why people like Bob Iger, because he's not the big britches that's like, no, fuck you, I'm the boss. You don't get to do nothing. He's like, hey, you running this part right here, you running that part. All of y'all gonna get checked by me if I so feel, but I respect you guys enough to do the shit that you've been assigned to do. Don't make me have to step in there. That's Bob Iger.
I just I
so you're saying we need to remake Star Wars black, except cast it white? Where did he get that from?
What?
I have no idea.
Okay, so now Jason and Danny, again, I am not one of these toxic fans. I am only making the conversation interesting. And you know how I can do that. That is my only position. You have heard me say that I have enjoyed certain things about the movies, and I have seen them all many times, every single one of them. At one point, I had all of them until I gave them away to some friends. But yeah, so I'm always going to support it. I don't want it to fail. None of that stuff. That is not my position. So I don't want you guys to misunderstand me and understand that I'm operating from a position of many different angles simultaneously.
I'm like you, man. I'm like, just because I didn't like the new saga doesn't mean the next Star Wars comes out I ain't gonna be there. I was there for Solo. I was there for Rogue One. I was there for the last three, and I'll be there for the next one.
I'm not gonna be excited for it, but I'll still watch it. Like
Rogue One, the last 3 minutes of that movie made it what it is.
That was it, Rogue One, and that's another thing. A lot of I have an unpopular opinion because I didn't like Rogue One, except for the last couple minutes.
I will take Rogue One over those Star Wars prequels any day.
You know what I want to see? I want to see that same sequence in Rogue One, the last 3 minutes, but instead of it, it's stormtroopers and a purple lightsaber goes up. That's what I want to see.
You know what? Like they should have had that Rogue One approach with Yoda. But, they weren't smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll tell you that Donnie Yen, I like this character in there. That was hell.
Yeah, he kept saying. No, I was just gonna say he kept saying that the Force is with me. I am the Force. The Force is with me, and it just annoyed the shit out of me.
Let me tell you something about Donnie Yen's character. His character was okay, but I feel like I liked him because he's Donnie Yen. Like he's one of those people. Like you put him, Scott Adkins, or whatever, I'm probably gonna like them by default unless their character just.
It depends on it. I didn't care for what's the black guy that played the butler Forrest
Um,
Whitaker. I didn't like his character.
Oh, me
oh,
neither.
well,
I was mad.
no, I got you, but it will take something extra for me to not like whatever character that Donnie Yen or somebody like Scott Atkins
I
is
agree.
playing. They would have to annoy the shit out of me. So me liking Donnie Yen was automatic. It was like Donnie Yen's in Star Wars. Of course we're gonna like him, unless his
Yep.
character is just ridiculously hateful. So to me, it's not special when that happens. It's like Donnie
Man,
Yen has a cool factor, so we're gonna like him by default.
I agree. Speaking of Forrest Whitaker, I know you're gonna like this movie, Terrence. You remember Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai?
I saw that movie. I saw all the Ghost Dog movies.
God, I love that movie. That chick was singing that Flavor Flav in the bathroom. That was did that gun through the damn sink.
I did not care. I did not care for those movies, Danny.
Oh, thank you. Because I was just about to say I couldn't stand Ghost Dog, and I was like, Daddy's gonna kick me off the stream.
I will tell you this though, Forrest Whitaker.
Bye.
Dang, Danny, how could you do that to me? We boys, Danny.
Man,
Danny. Okay,
how can y'all like Ghost Dog? I'm coming to California and Montreal, and I'm gonna take both y'all cards. Just leave them on the table.
Okay, Danny. Or again, I don't hate the movies. They just not my favorites. That's all I'm saying. If you put them on, Danny, if you put them on, I will watch them. I do not hate the movies. They're not my favorites. That's all I'm saying.
And I'll be honest, I only watched Ghost Dog once, so I will watch it again as I'm older now. But I just remember it had nothing special in it for me that it was.
Oh Lord!
But Danny, I'll tell you this: since you brought up Forrest Whitaker, Forrest Whitaker is actually a martial artist, and I know that because he was trained by my master Joe. My master Joe is the guy that trains Forrest Whitaker on a regular basis.
Like a master eater, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so Forrest Whitaker has in fact remember that cop show that Forrest Whitaker was in? You know what I'm talking about, right, Danny? Like he was like on some kind of investigative cop kind of show for a little while.
It used to be, yeah.
Okay. There's
something like a profile or something.
Right. So whatever, I'm blanking on the name of that damn show, but whatever that show is, there's a sequence when he's in the police station when he's training with the Cali sticks. The black guy that he's fighting against, that's the guy that taught me Cali stick training and knife training and all that kind of stuff. Forrest Whitaker's personal trainer.
That's cool.
So I can personally vouch for Forrest Whitaker's beastness because I'm like, yo, he got one of my teachers. So that motherfucker's legit as shit.
He's a good actor. You know what I mean?
Man.
Danny, do you remember the part where I said I don't hate the movies before you like kicked me to a different universe?
My feelings hurt my feelings.
Oh, your feelings are hurt, but then when my heart gets shattered, nobody cares.
You don't care about your heart. Don't get shattered. You're indestructible.
That is not the point. If okay, well I see what you're saying, but that's still not the point. Like. Jason, tell him that's not the point.
He makes a good point, though.
No. It's a great point.
Jason, you know it was.
No, it was. But all I'm saying is like that reminds me of I'll go in a room and they're like, yeah, we've all died and sacrificed ourselves and experienced a lot of pain. And I come in the room, they was like, well, except for you, Terrence, you don't be feeling all this shit. I'm like, so does that mean I should be here? Or... man, shoot, like Danny, you don't know what happened, man. When that one time, I'm trying to remember what the subject was. That first time when you had shattered my heart. When I turned off the camera, you turned off yours. The mailman got beat up that day. He didn't have nothing to do with it, Danny. He was just like, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" And I was like, "Man, I ain't even knowing."
His ass with mine.
Man, Danny, he didn't know what was happening to him. I was like, man, my friend, he done shattered my heart. He just was trying to deliver the mail, but he got fucked up that day.
His ass, man.
And I
Danny
am a
has to be.
I'm a kind soul. Don't you guys agree? Like I'm a kind soul with the
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Wait, why are you guys laughing?
You're kind soul, but you got a demented mind, bro.
I am like that character in the movie when I show up, people are cheering and they know I'm gonna do the okay, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Terrence gonna show up and do all the things he wanted to do: rob banks, be stealing from people, beating people up and shit. I'm not being no hero. I'm the anti-hero. Screw that.
Shoot, like, hey, see, the thing is my friends need to understand the advantage of that. Like, if I were to achieve world domination, think of how much life would be better for you. I mean, you could just walk around, somebody give you an attitude, you be like, want me to call Terrence? They're like, oh shit, I didn't know you knew Terrence. My bad. They give you all their money, or you get like, whatever seats you want in restaurants or whatever. Like, it just be great. Danny, think about you and your family. Whatever you wanted, Jason, same thing. You guys just go anywhere. Be like, you want me to call Terrence? There's some good
I,
things in there, Danny.
I damn sure you just like MasterCard, buddy.
Yeah, just like there's sometimes all I'm saying
Yeah,
there's some goodness and bad things sometimes.
I got you. I got this backdrop for you, Terrence. This is Odin versus Thanos. I've never seen this version of Odin. It's like a little badass, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, that's a bad backdrop still. I like it.
Wait, I didn't hear you, Dan. You was breaking up.
I say I got this backdrop for you. It's Odin versus Thanos, but I don't know what this version of Odin is. It looks like he got some Egyptian stuff to Indian.
Yeah. That's sort of how he looked in that storyline I was telling you about when it was him and Galactus. Like Odin looked like, man, he looked crazy, kind of like that.
Yeah,
Like Thanos more or less kind of. Well, in terms of Thanos, he looks a little bit different, a little bit buffer than usual. Because I mean, Thanos is buff, but like he didn't look like that in that storyline. But
I think that they did some work too. Because I remember at the end of Avengers when they showed Thanos smiling, he didn't like he did in the movie. So they reworked him.
He was different.
Well, I mean that's good though. I'll tell you why. Because if you notice with the MCU movies, when you see characters over and over, they do a little bit of a costume change. They kind of touch them up a little bit, which is good because I don't know about you guys, but for me, I like that because that reminds me of the comics. Okay, now this character has this costume, or now they have this, whatever, and it's cool because it shows me that they're paying attention to some degree of what the comics has done in terms of the characters' appearances. Like Thanos's look has changed quite a bit. Sometimes he's a little buffer, sometimes he's a little smoother. He's gone through different shades of purple. So I'm like, there's precedence for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
I can't get mad at that.
Man said, what would you do if somebody threatened her? Hypothetically.
Who is this question for?
You.
Man said, what would you do hypothetically if someone threatened her?
Me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. What would I do? Well, so am I like where I'm living, and then Mads is walking down the street, and some guy's like, "Hey, Mads, I'm gonna kill you." Is that what we're talking about, or?
I guess.
Well, I don't know how quickly I can get there. If that, I mean, if she's next to me, then that's different. Like, I could respond more quickly, but she's halfway around the world.
All in the same vicinity, and she's crying for help.
Oh, so she's crying for help, help, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so the guy just threatened her. He just wants to do her wrong. That's the scenario.
He's about to kill her, I guess.
Well, of course I wouldn't let her die if that's what she's asking.
I think we'd all would be jumping to protect.
I mean, granted, I don't care about a lot of humans. I could sit there and drink lemonade and eat popcorn while somebody's dying. But I mean, if I'm cool with you, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. That's what she's asking.
Because that'd be some asshole shit. Mad's like, help. And I'm just sitting there like, damn, Mads is in trouble, boy. Damn.
Be like, not my problem.
Yeah, not
You
my
know?
problem. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
I
would be
think
fucked
Danny
up.
or Jason are calling me. I better take this call. Like that'd be fucked up.
We
Danny
would
be like, damn, T, what's that going on in the background? I'm like, oh, that's just mad screaming for help. You know how she is. That'd be terrible.
I would shoot whoever's trying to hurt Mads.
Now, see,
Absolutely.
shooting them is too nice. I would want them to feel the pain. I'm
That's
talking
my
about
wheelhouse, though. I ain't about all that physicality.
no. See,
You know, me neither.
humans need to be taught a lesson when they fuck up.
Okay.
The best
Yeah,
thing you could do.
death is the best lesson.
Nope, they get away too quickly. See, there's a
What the
difference
fuck?
between
You
no,
wake up
there's a
in hell. You wake up in hell or wherever you're gonna go.
okay.
Oh,
See that's too gracious. See, I'm thinking if I don't, because sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you to Jesus early or whatever the fuck you believe in. You done fucked up. You done stepped over not one line but 10 lines. So you're done. You're done so many times. I'm gonna take you out, bring you back to life, and keep taking you out just because it's fun. However, if they did the wrong thing, I feel like I want to keep them alive, let them know what's up, mess them up. And then when they're just begging to die, keep them alive a little bit longer, nothing too crazy, maybe a couple months, and bleed them of all their humanity and
oh
all
my
that
god.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I will find out what they care about most, and then I will slaughter their entire family.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
only then will they have my permission to die. I'm gonna pull a Bane on their ass. They're gonna be in the bed. I'm like, family. They're all dead.
Terrence would
What
have
about
his
that?
little
Boy.
Terrence would have his little knife cutting, pouring salt on the wound. You know what I mean? Put
Different.
him underwater, just let a drip of water drop on his head every
Exactly.
second.
Shit,
Like,
they think Saw is creative, man. Watch a pissed off parent. Saw the fucking Jigsaw ain't got shit on me.
oh Lord.
Well, it is 181 minutes.
I was looking at the time.
Danny, why'd you say it like that? He made it sound like it was coming to an end.
It is coming to an end. I told you.
You know?
I am very disciplined on this. I have all my mind practices and stuff that you have. When 180 minutes come, boom.
But notice our chemistry and how it was on point.
Yeah, it's on fire. It's gonna be on fire tomorrow too. I'm getting ready to go.
Yeah,
Wait,
we do have good chemistry together, guys, man. I really think we have good chemistry together.
You do, most definitely.
Wait, what's happening tomorrow?
I say we'll be back tomorrow if y'all want to.
Oh, let me see what's happening tomorrow. Should be.
I told you, I'm off for the next 5 days.
So see, I was thinking, in life, considering all the stuff that's going on in this planet, humans coughing and dying and buying toilet paper and stuff like that. Now I was thinking the best thing to do is to uplift the spirits of these creatures, and the best way to do that is by having a 10-hour stream to show them.
They had a 9-hour stream these past 3 days combined. They had 3 on Wednesday, 3 yesterday, and 3 today. That's 9 hours. Tomorrow, if we decide to come back again, they're gonna have 12 hours. And then Sunday when we come back, that'd be 15 hours I have given to uplift people. So I'm not giving any more than that.
But the thing is, the reason why the crisis hasn't stopped is because they're looking for the 10 hours straight. I feel like that is the cure. 10 hours of
create your own YouTube, and you can do that. I ain't stopping you. I'm encouraging you.
Danny, that's not the same thing as us doing a 10-hour stream. No,
yes, it is. No. Jason, is that not the same thing? If he created his own YouTube channel and go on there 10 hours, ain't the same thing?
No, because I'm by myself, or I could be with others, but at the same time, I'm talking about like even still, the end result is going to be
this is what you do. You set aside 10 hours out of your schedule, and you say, Danny, I want you to do the first 3. Jason, I want you to do the second 3. And you get anybody else, your brother, he can do the next 3. Then that last hour,
he ain't coming.
Me will be you. Well, you get man, she'll do it. She'll do the third 3, and the last hour, all 3 of us will come back and do the last hour together. They go right there.
What in the world? I'm talking about 10 hours straight, and you trying to
just
divide
told
it up
you.
No. With you, meaning that you're there from start to finish of the 10 hours,
I'm
Danny.
there with you in spirit.
Okay. See, I say that, and when I say that, I be full of shit. So I know that you full of shit when you say that.
I'm deeply hurt, man. I told you I'd be there in spirit.
Danny,
How about this? How about this? I text you every hour on the hour when I'm not on there.
and who's to say that I didn't die in between? Like anything can happen.
If you don't get the text, you can die on the screen. What I'm supposed to do? Still talk the rest of the time?
Well, yeah, that'll keep me alive. Like until the stream is done, I'll die after that. That's how that works.
Let me think about it. I'll get back with
you. See, that's the thing. I read in this one book when I was in 4th grade that when humans need to think about something, like there could be a very, very cloudy no coming in the distance.
I already said catch me on the right. Catch me on the right day, and I might do a 10-hour.
See, last night I was communicating with Jason. We had a wonderful conversation, right, Jason?
Man, absolutely.
We was hamming it up in a short time. Like we was really getting into some things, and I appreciate that. And Jason, you reaching out to me, I'm glad because you beat me to it. Because I was like, man, I need to make sure that this platform gets destroyed by these humans because crisis just kills us all. Like the few of us that are left, we ain't got the contact information. I'm going to have to be traveling around the world with a duffel bag. Like, hey, you seen Jason Human? I don't know him. Grabbing humans. Like, yep.
Walking Dead style, trying to walk to Montreal. I gotta get to Jason. We gotta get to Danny and Terrence.
I'm gonna have to show him a video too because I don't have no picture. I'm like, yo, see this? This is the man I'm looking for. Oh, so you gonna act like you don't know who he is, huh? Like I'm gonna have to be grabbing people.
Come here, fool.
Boom.
Yeah, bro. I enjoyed it, man. As always, like I said, we always have a good time. Like I said, I'm open. I know we're gonna be Sunday at 6, but I'm definitely open to tomorrow if y'all want to do that. Just let me know.
If you guys are down, I'm down.
I will definitely try my damnedest to do that for sure.
Or if you want to do a different time, that's fine too. I'm free time. So this text let me know.
The thing that's slightly confusing because my mind's not perfect. Sometimes it gets a little jumbled, and like the part that's confusing me is that you said that you're off and you have all this time, but yet the 10-hour stream didn't happen.
It ain't gonna happen. Let me tell you this. Let me make this crystal clear about this 10-hour stream. If the Lord was to bless me with a $50 billion lottery, and by the time I cash in, I take home $10 billion. I'm just saying that. Even if I had $10 billion all the time in the world, I'm not gonna sit at a computer and talk to any human on this planet for 10 hours. Okay,
I'm not any human. I'm Terrence. It's different. Like,
nobody.
Plus, you don't have to sit down. You can walk. You can go on a jog. I mean, you could be in a car. I mean, there's so many different options.
What I would do is I would come to California and I go by Montreal. We go watch a game, or whatever they come back, like the Lakers. That's what I really want to watch.
But the humans are going to be rude during the game. They're going to be cheering and playing while we trying to talk and shit.
No, we be in the skybox chilling.
That's
I got 10.
That's different, eh, Terrence?
I got $10 billion.
Yeah, that's different.
I got $10 billion. We're gonna have our own skybox.
Okay, but didn't you say 50 billion? Like, okay, I don't even know.
After Texas, I'm gonna take nothing but a certain percentage. I ain't gonna take all of that home.
But I'm saying
they don't take no taxes off of it here, right, Danny?
Huh?
They don't take no taxes off our lotto winnings here, right?
Boy, shit. You win it here, you're gonna get about 33 1/3%.
Yeah, no, you win 70 million here, you get 70 million flat.
So basically, Danny, you're saying that because Jason's just flat. It makes perfect sense. You get it, right, Jason? So in Danny's case, you're saying so they would do the whole monthly thing, right? You get so much a month until it equals whatever you want.
No, you can take it all on one lump sum, or you can get it take it by the year.
Okay. I think
so how much they give you?
The same out here.
Huh?
I said I think it's pretty much the same out here in California.
Yeah, no, this was saying that they don't take taxes. They take taxes in the United States.
Yeah, our winning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, in Canada here they don't take taxes.
They don't take taxes.
So if you win 70 million, you get 70 million.
Here,
but Danny, you said billions though. Like I feel like I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'm
know
just
what
saying.
to do with that. Like I would probably just burn money for fun because it just would be so much of it.
Yeah,
And then after that, I
what
could,
the hell you smoking? I ain't gonna burn a cent of
I just said some of it. If I got 10 billion,
none of
why
it.
can't I burn a billion? It
Well, that's
ain't
crazy.
gonna really.
That's crazy.
You would burn $1 billion?
Well, if I have 10 billion, like okay, let's say I spend it and I got everything I want. I got a training facility. I have Captain America serum. I have everything that I ever wanted. Then
Uh-huh.
after that, once I hook up my friends and a couple of family members that I care about, after that, it's just gonna be money collecting dust and termites and other things that are on this planet. So I
Mhm.
figured for fun on a Tuesday, I could just kick my feet up with the lemonade and the popcorn and burn some of it.
Oh,
Nothing too
hell no.
crazy.
I ain't burning none of that money at all. I'll let it collect its dust as long as I'm alive. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, I made it. If I made it that big, why can't I burn some of it?
oh,
That's all
you
I'm saying.
can. Absolutely, you can.
I know humans are probably the ones that will listen, like, oh man, you should give it to charity, you bastard. That kind of stuff. But look, here's the thing. Charity is for what? For humans. If I don't care about humans, why am I giving them some charity money? That don't make no sense. Why would I do that?
I get it. I understand. I mean, I do something for charity, but
I know that sounds horrible. It's gonna be help us. We need food and water. I'm like, you do, and I hope somebody help you, but I'm about to leave. And then you're gonna have them humans in the background, like, if it were you, you would want us to help you. I'm like, not really, human. Not really. But all right.
See, Derek think he's slick. He doing all this talking. He trying to go past my 100 minutes. Guess what?
Slick. I
Yeah,
would
he think
never
he's
be
slick.
slick
Yeah,
with the
he think he's slick.
with
191 minutes. That's way past what my promise.
I
Tell
am
you,
a
to your
I am a
to your
honest
wife, right?
kind man. I would never try to
you a
do anything
slick
sneaky in the world of the
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all, fellas. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. If you can't make it, shoot me on a text, and we will adjust accordingly. Whatever topics you want to talk about, let me know. We can go from there. But we are not ever, ever, ever talking on my show again about Blank Man and Movie Man.
But what if I get like casted in the Blank Man remake? Like what if I don't get
No,
casted?
no, no,
Mm.
no.
Danny,
It,
you don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. You don't like Blank Man. You don't like a Meteor Man. So you don't like those silly type of
I
movies,
like.
right?
That's
I'm
right.
I'm
I like what
Danny.
I like.
So,
Danny,
okay.
I know you got a sense of humor, Danny. That's why I'm like, look,
I do.
if
I
I
like.
if I'm gonna be in Blank Man, you don't think I'm gonna make sure that it should be on point, at least with the fighting? Like I'm gonna make sure.
So let me ask you this: what about Ace Ventura?
Oh hell yeah, that's my shit
You
right
okay?
there. Yeah.
I like Ace
You,
Ventura
so you like Ace Ventura, which is just as silly.
because
Yep. Yep.
no, because it don't have no kind of super hero elements into it.
Why?
So that's
Okay,
the only
Jason,
thing
we
that's
got to the
bothering
bottom of
you.
it. So if it's
When
superhero,
it's a superhero movie, I want to see a superhero. I don't want to see no clowning on it.
wow. Okay,
I want
Jason, we
to see
got to the bottom of it. So if it got
Yeah.
superhero, he ain't fucking with. But if it's like some Ace Ventura shit, then he gonna be like,
Hey,
yeah.
that's right. How about they do some kind of crazy comedy karate movie or something? You want to see that shit? I mean, you really
Okay,
into those
look,
shit.
They
look.
already
You
did.
talking to the dude?
Kung Fu
No,
You
Hustle.
talking to the
how
dude?
about that
You
Bruce
talking
Lee
to the
did
dude
some
that
kind of
seen?
crazy comedy and
Kung Fu Hustle.
man,
Okay, look,
Kung
check
Fu
this
Hustle
out.
was a comedy.
If Bruce Lee did something funny because it's Bruce Lee, I am pretty certain. Because if you've seen like his second film, Fist of Fury, when he pretended to be the man from the
The
I
telephone
know the
company,
old goofy man. He had that goofy hat and stuff and that
yeah,
on.
like he can do some humor. Like, so I
oh,
think I would enjoy that. Bruce Lee would be
Oh,
pretty damn funny.
Terrence, you've seen Kung Fu Hustle?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a comedy type of kung
It
fu movie,
is like now
and it was good.
it was good. I didn't care for it, but it was definitely good. But here's my I like stuff like I can watch Three Ninjas, Surfs Up, kind of shit. Like
Three
you know,
Ninjas.
yeah, Three Ninjas is silly. Like you got them kids and they training with the
you
old
know
man that's a ninja
you
and
know tell
shit.
you? You know tell you?
I'm sorry, there's not three ninjas, man.
Hey, but I'm just throwing stuff out there. Like I
I
can
get you.
get down. I can get down with some silliness with the best of them.
I get you. I get you.
All right, fellas. Tomorrow we will continue this, and I'm not saying nothing else. Thank you, man. Catch you later.
Peace.
We will see you tomorrow.
Yep, yep.